Uh, Hello, good morning, good morning, good morning. I think
Good
so.
morning,
Yes,
Sam Blackie.
I'm here. Yeah, good morning, ma. So glad to have you both here. Wow, this is so good. Okay, hope you can hear me clearly. So, good morning, everybody. I'm so glad to welcome you all to the day 3 of the Suggest Education Bootcamp. And we're going to be kicking off today with a fantastic panel session. Uh, yes, is my voice loud and clear over there? Can you hear me clearly there?
Please, you need to speak up a bit. We are just finding it difficult to hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to, I'll do that. Okay, is it better I do it now?
Yes, but you still need to speak up.
Okay, just please, give me a second. Let me get my address.
Yes.
Okay, is it a bit better now? Can you hear me clearly now? Oh, can you hear me clearly? Let me know, please.
We
Oh,
can hear you.
hello, can you hear me clearly now?
We can hear you.
We
Yes,
can
we
hear
can
you.
hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're just going to wait a bit to let these people know that we are live. So sorry, like something came up at the last minute, so we are live. Come on, wow. Okay, so amazing. I can see people here already. Uh, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome, Miss Fermi. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, and to our speakers, our panelists. Thank you so much, Miss Conley. Thank you so much, Mr. Tai. I don't know why I still find it difficult to be able to recognize the two of you, to know who Tai is. But let me see from the picture. I think this is Miss Tai. Ah, come on, this is really this is like yeah, identical to this, and that's really one of the things I actually love about the work you do. Okay, let me start my camera. The work you do, because I see what the two of you do, and every single time I'm wowed. Like how can like twin sisters, both amazing, phenomenal. They are doing amazing work, and I just feel like wow. So I've been following your work for some time now, and I know how much you have done in the educational space. I know how much. Let's even leave out the award, the recognition, but just the impact you have made in the life of the student alone is enough to warrant this session. Like, okay, how are you doing it? How has how has it been for you? What's the journey like? So that's really what I want us to share today. So to get started, I would like you to introduce yourself, because right now I don't know. I don't know who is going there. I don't know who is tired. So please just introduce yourself. So we know who Tai is and we know who Coin is, so that we can know when we direct the question, we can know who is
Mm.
speaking to us.
So, Taiwan,
Wow.
Education officer at Lagos State
Oh,
Teaching Business Commission and founder of Edisciple. Okay,
oh, that's great.
currently I'm also an education officer in the Lagos State Service Commission and founder of key initiatives like the Art for Life and the She's a Good Mind initiative. I remain
Wow, wow.
committed to building the generation of potential leaders. Thank you so much for
Wow.
having us here. So glad to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. Like this is, I don't know, will I ever be able to stop smiling today? But it's actually, I'm not actually expecting they're going to join using the same. I actually thought, okay, at least everybody's going to join separately. So I will know Coindy, I will now know like type, but then it's really amazing to have you both together. Thank you so much for accepting to do this. I understand how your schedule is, and I know that this is not something you do every day. But then I see it as a big privilege for you to have accept to do this. So just going to kick off immediately. So okay, let me get. So our topic for today for the panel session is inspiring change, sharing impact stories of transformative teaching and learning. And then the idea of the panel session itself is is nothing more than inspiration. Because I realize for me one of the things I don't joke with is exposure, and it's constantly exposing myself to higher reality. So when I see someone doing bigger than doing something big or doing something amazing or doing something I actually desire to do, I tend to expose myself to them because I know that my imagination or whatever I think I can do is limited by what I think is possible. So, and I follow your work for some time. I've seen a lot of things you have done, the relationship has and the amazing work you're doing, or have this who would like to have the same opportunity. But then probably there is something you know that we don't know. There's something you're doing that we also like to or key into. I think your this thing that's changed now. Can you return it back to where it is? Like I think okay, yes, is okay now. Okay, so that's really why that's why we have to decide okay to have this panel session as part of this bootcamp. So I'm just going to go ahead with the questions now. So we're going to start with a question. This is not actually I intentionally leave this out of the question I sent yesterday because I don't want it to be I don't want you to know about it, and I just want this to I want this to be as fun and interesting as possible. So now I know that this is Miss Taiwo here and this is Miss Coinde. Okay, I think I'll be mirrored. So definitely this is Miss Coinde here and this is Miss Tai here, right? The way you're sitting down.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to start with okay. Let me check. Who should I start? Okay, I think Miss Tai came first. Like, so let me start with Miss Taiwo. So I want Miss Taiwo to just tell me something about so right now you have introduced yourself to us, but right now I want you to introduce Miss Coinde to us. So Miss Tao is going to introduce Miss Coinde, and Miss Coinde is going to introduce Miss Tai.
Okay. Kehinde Alabi is a graduate of University of Lagos and with an education degree. She's also a Lagos State teacher, and she currently serves as an education officer at Lagos State Teaching Service Commission, and she's currently the founder of Art for Life, and she's a Good Mind Foundation. So she's always very passionate about helping young individuals discover their potentials. Is always ready to harness their potentials and make sure that they succeed in their life. So I hope I've done justice to that.
Yes, yes, that's so amazing. Miss Coinde, can you hear me? Miss Coinde, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So please tell us about Miss Tao.
All right. Ms. Tayo Patience Alavi is equally a Lagos State teacher, precisely in the Ikorodu Junior Grammar School. And currently, she's the founder of EduCycle, an initiative that aims to um, develop the literacy skills of students, both within our community and even outside our community. Ms. Taiwo Patience Alabi is the most dogged person I've seen so far. I can tell you
Wow.
that she's my major source of inspiration in this teaching profession. Even before I got fully committed to social impact, she was my first contact in terms of a person that inspires me, that shapes my teaching strategies. Before I got fully into the job, she was the one I saw. She was the one giving me all the gingers that I needed to be a star in the classroom. And
Wow.
even to mention one of the people that inspire me in the education space today. She's the first person before I can think of any other person. So she's very dedicated, she's hardworking, she's a perfectionist.
Wow.
So to say, thank you very much.
Wow, that's so great, so great. Thank you so much. I really love this. I really love the fact that, uh, like something common, to have twin sisters, not just identical, but then identical in profession too. Do the same thing, give yourself support. Sometimes, like I just saw the post, Mr. Koinde will be in Mr. O school giving out support. The same thing, Mr. will be in Mr. Koinde school. And it's not even the same school, it's not even the same locales, it's not even the same environment. But you are able to give yourself that amazing support. And I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for all you do for each other. So just going to go right into it now. Yes, going to go right into it. Just give me a sec. So now the first question I would like to ask you, and I'm going to start with Ms. Taiwo, is to please tell us. So right now, Ms. Koinde has given us an expo that you are actually the one, you're one of our biggest inspiration, which means probably you have like a, let me say, a passion for teaching from the beginning. And I think I've read from Miss Ko in this timeline many times that she does, you don't have the same like focus from the beginning. She does not want to be like a teacher from the beginning. But then I just want to ask, so I would like to know.
Okay. You could be very wrong because from one
Okay,
side, I never
is this
wanted to become a teacher.
okay?
Yes. So
Wow.
the dream was to become a medical doctor. But fate,
Ah,
and as God will have it, I found myself studied education at the University of Lagos and now a qualified
wow.
teacher in the classroom teaching. So it wasn't the intention at first. So I found myself in teaching profession.
Wow, that's great. And I would like you to speak more on that. Because I've seen a lot of people who studied education, but they can still decide that, okay, that even that education I studied, oh, you gave me that education, but I'm not going to do teaching. So now, so what's, and this actually, because the same thing happened to me. I wanted to study computer science in school, but then for some reason, I pursued admission into university, I was not given admission. Polytechnic, I was not given admission. But for some opportunity, for some luck, I got admission into a college of education, and I started studying education. That is when I started. That's when I developed passion for education. So I always tell people, if I decide that, okay, I don't want to be a teacher today, I have other things, like I can decide to go into the areas of computer or do any other thing. But it's something I later make the decision. So what I'm trying to speak to is that what later make you make the decision, because even after studying education, you can still decide to not be a teacher if you want to. So what's make that change of decision? Is it just that admission process, or you later make the personal decision yourself?
It wasn't just the admission process. Of course, I was into education and I made sure I did excellently well in my academics at that time. I graduated with the first class from the Faculty of Education. But even at
Wow.
that, I never wanted to become a teacher. My thought there was, okay, probably when I graduate, I'll go into the pharmaceutical industry, medical industry. That was the intention at first. But later on, after NYSC, I tried all possible means to just get into other sectors, but everything failed. And angrily, I just said, I can't be sitting at home. Let me just go and look for something to do. And the closest job I could do then was was teaching. So I remember my first encounter as a teacher in that first school. I thought it was an angry moment for me. So I was so mean that when they were offering me salary, and I just looked at it, what kind of salary is this one? Like I could just said, hold your job. Me, I didn't even want to teach before, so why am I even bothering myself? I've just stood up and just left the place. We're just looking for the slightest excuse to just run, just opt out. So it wasn't even a passion from the beginning. So the
Wow.
experience in that first instance was not that palatable for us. It was as if you going into a particular adventure angrily. So that was it. But as
Wow.
time went on, we started enjoying the profession gradually, 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 until we now came fully. And since then, I don't think, of course, I could fit in into other sectors, but if I'm going to choose any profession, the first one I would choose is the teaching profession. If I want to further my academics, probably into PhD, I won't choose any other one. I will not go into chemistry. I will not go into pure sciences. My first choice will always be education because I see it as a calling. I see it as something that interests me. I see it as something that is very realistic to me, that's very practicable. I can relate with successfully. So that's just it.
Wow, wow, this is great. In fact, if someone has told me outside, I would not believe the story. But I'm glad I'm hearing this from you personally. And the thing is that this is a story that almost every one of us shared. So most of us, especially most of the teachers doing well today, most of them does not start or like started as teaching. Like I've seen a lot of teachers, I've spoken to a lot of teachers that will tell me, and I will ask them, when have you started teaching? They will tell me, I started teaching right from secondary school. I have never had that opportunity. I never had the opportunity of teaching after secondary school. My first teaching experience was my teaching practice in 2018. So I never had that opportunity. I don't even have the this thing. I don't even go close to being a teacher in a school, nursery school, primary school, nothing at all. But then I'm glad that we are here. So I know that Miss Coin also share the same story, but I would love to hear it from you too, man. So how do you get here?
Of course, my coming into the teaching profession wasn't by choice at all. If I had a choice, I would study law or any
Wow.
related course, not teaching. But as fate would have it as well, I found myself in the education line. And when after graduation from the University of Lagos, I didn't look for job in any teaching sector. I was going to other sectors. I went to the oil company, I went to the banking sector. But when I couldn't secure an employment, I had to resort to teaching. And like she said, our first resumption as teachers was not with all pleasure at all. We
Oh,
weren't smiling with
it was the same school.
just ready. We're ready to fly at any time, at every slightest excuse. Although it's not as if we went there to fight anybody, but we're not too um, cheerful with our colleagues. But with time, we got connected with our students, and I think from there, we drew the inspiration to enjoy teaching as much as we could. Until later time when we got fully hooked, well, after we got employment with Lagos State Teaching Service Commission, we got deeply involved in the job and coming in contact with other exceptional teachers around the globe, we caught that inspiration and were able to do the express that we're doing to do. So that's the story.
Wow, that's great. Thank you so much. This is really inspiring. I love the fact that you got into the profession and then you decide to you cut that flame and you decide to stay there. Because for now, and like I said boldly, with all the skills that you have amassed today, even if you decide not to stay in the education profession anymore, there are still limitless opportunity for you. But we are glad to have you. We are glad to have. Come on, we can't start thanking you for the gifts that you are to the education space. Thank you so much. So I'm just going to go right into the next question, which is, what is your biggest challenge in the teaching profession so far? And I want to start with Miss Coinde on this. What would you say your biggest challenge is as a teacher?
My my biggest challenge coming to since I've been in the teaching profession has been getting people to buy and key into my vision. You know, most of the support that I receive comes from external individuals. I don't really get as much support that I need from people around me, particularly within my place of primary assignment. When you are supposed to have people who are supposed to be your greatest support or cheerleaders, they are the ones discouraging you or criticizing you at some point or trying to find fault with everything. It can be overwhelming, it can be discouraging. But the vision I've crafted for myself, which is to build the next generation of influential leaders, as guiding me through, has been driving me to pursue my vision, even without looking back, without allowing those negative talk to get into me. So getting people to support your vision has been the greatest challenge all along teaching profession.
Okay, wow, thank you so much. And I believe one thing that is there is that as you start getting the support, and I'm very sure since we are here not to give up, we are here not to quit, and we keep pushing forward. So it's just a matter of time before when people most of the time just require people just need us to believe in our own idea, and once we start working on it, they will start supporting us too. And I'm glad, and I can confidently say to some extent, you're getting that support now, and the support is still going to come. And I know the vision is getting bigger and bigger, but then I hope that the support will come starting from now on. So, Mr. Over to you, man. What's the biggest challenge in the teaching profession?
So it's a similar experience actually. My biggest challenge so far has been not getting the right support
Okay,
or the
Mr.
necessary support I need from those who are supposed to be my major source of strength and support. When you want to be different, you want to get to be exceptional, and you're hearing words like, are you the only one? You are doing too much. Or probably you want to start an initiative and you just present the matter to them and they're saying, where do you want to do that one? In this school? With who? These are our students, and they just wash you down. They just wash everything you are doing down. Or they're having the motive that everything you are doing is just to gain awards, recognitions, and so on. All these things can be very, very discouraging, be disheartening at times. Most of the time, I find myself, just ruminating, just thinking, just brooding, and I feel so discouraged as a result of sayings from different angle, sayings that are not true. It could happen to anyone. So you want to be a teacher that wants to be exceptional, that wants to be different. Don't expect any less of all these challenges we are seeing. You will see even more. You see situations that will even make you cry. You see situations that will make you feel less of yourself or make you feel that you are wasting your time. So you see a lot of backbiting, a lot of gossips, a lot of troubles, a lot of struggles from different angles. But you know what? Don't let it get into you. Have a vision, have a focus. When you have a goal, you have a vision, you have a focus, all those things serve as driving force for you to keep pushing on even when those challenges come. So as an educator, it's very, very important for you to craft a vision. So when everything else fails, when you are not getting the needed support, your vision is what keeps you going. It's the one that motivates you from within.
Wow, wow, this is great. And again, this is a story that almost every educator who have decided to be different face. Personally, I just finished my teaching practice, and in the school where I had my teaching practice, like the goal is whenever I get to a place, I just look for things to get better, things I can improve on. And you see me doing this, doing this, doing this, doing this, doing this, and like in fact, I do more than the teachers who are getting paid. Why I'm not getting paid in naira? People the student will be wondering, hey. But then I try to do. But my biggest challenge too is not even getting the support, but is dealing with people who will think you are the only one. Are you the only one? Now only you waka come. Things like that. So please, dearest educator, progressive educator, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, or even if you don't have the support, as our panelists have said, please believe in your vision, trust in your vision, stay true to yourself. Yes, the journey will be hard and it might look difficult, but please just stay with it. Okay. And then that's where, what I'm just going to add to that, that's where getting support comes from. Sometimes you might not be able to get the support within your environment, but you can always get the support outside, and that's where online communities are there. In fact, one of the things that motivated me when I went for my teaching practice, and I think I made a post about it when I first started then, was that I've seen a lot of teachers, including Mr. and Miss Coin, they do a lot of things with their students. So I feel like, wow, this teaching practice I'm going to, I have to do a lot. So just seeing them doing their own work to give me that motivation, give me the inspiration I need to keep doing what I'm doing. So the same thing, even if you don't get the support in your school, you can always get the support someone else, and it's going to really help. Now, on to the third question is, uh, first, for you to be here today, for the two of you to be here today, it means you are a successful teacher. Yes, because I was listening to someone recently, and it was like this stage that he is right now, where he's speaking from, they don't invite failure to come and speak on it. They don't invite failure to speak. So this particular platform that we are right now, they don't invite someone who is not doing anything to speak or to be here at all. So for you to be here, it means you have achieved some level of success, not just even some, like a high level of success. So my question now is, what are you going to say is the most contributing factor to your success so far as a teacher? So let's start with Ms. Taiwo. What will you say
Okay, I will
your most
mention
contributing
three.
factor?
Actually, I'll mention three. So to start with, I'll say, as an individual, my singular goal has always been to leave my students and community better than I found them. So this has been a major driving force for me in the profession. And secondly, I will not dispute the fact that Teach for Nigeria has been a blessing, yes, to me as a person and as a teacher. So I can categorically say that you cannot pass through Teach for Nigeria as a teacher or as an individual and remain the same. Yes, you can't pass through Teach for Nigeria and remain the same. Teach for Nigeria is a non-profit organization that aims at ending education inequity in the country. And so in Teach for Nigeria, I learned a lot of skills, for example, the transformational leadership skills, community change making skills, and several others. So Teach for Nigeria has been a major contributing factor to my success as a teacher. Then I won't feel less of the fact that I had other networks that really pushed me, that really motivated me. Inspiring networks like Adeola Adefemi, the 2023 Continental Teacher of the Year, Olatunmi Samuel Kwefa, Olalekan Adieko, Kemi Ogunsoye, and the likes. I can go on and on to start mentioning names. These people really inspired me. Seeing them, I gained another perspective of the teaching profession. I saw teaching as a calling. I saw teaching as a ministry. I saw it that so teachers can be this different, can be this exceptional, can be this dedicated. So these kind of people really felt that fire of passion, of transformation, of dedication in me. So as a teacher, and you want to be different, and you don't have networks of people that are like-minded, please, you need to get one. Connect with people that will inspire you, that will motivate you, that will push you to even do beyond limits. Yes, so this is very, very crucial, and it has contributed a lot to my success as a teacher.
Okay, I had a network issue. Okay, are you done answering the question? Are you done answering the question, ma?
She's done.
Okay, she's done. Okay, I
Yes.
just like go back now. My network kicked me out earlier. All right, ma. So to Miss Coinde now. So what are you going to say your the most contributing factors to your success is or are?
I would it's the same thing, but I would always only stress a point that even when you can do it all by yourself to motivate yourself, be your own cheerleader. I can still tell you, going by the adage that two, several pieces of clothes joined together is what makes a complete garment. That means all by yourself, you are not self-sufficient. You are not an Highlander. You can't achieve everything all by yourself. You need the efforts of other people put together. You need the support of other people put together to achieve maximum uh, success. And that's why you need a network of inspiring people, like the names you have mentioned earlier, the likes of Adeola Adefemi, Kemi Ogunsoye, and the rest of them. We have Joy Fine, we have Guy Rotitilope, and many of them doing, making waves in the education space. Seeing their works, collaborating with them, getting to meet them, networking with them serves as a sort of motivation. So, and most importantly, even when every other thing fails, like I said earlier, when every other thing fails, when there are no people around, when there is nobody to motivate, there is no one to cheer you up, there is no one to inspire you. You are there to be your own greatest cheerleader. And the only thing that can help you in this is to have a vision, have something that is guiding you. When you have something that is guiding you, you can better motivate yourself this way. So this has been the greatest support I've received so far. Myself, the driving force within me, and the network of inspiring people that I have all around. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I'm really glad to share that. So educators that are here, you have that's something we need to key into. Like have people that you work with. Network being a strong network is very, very important. Having people that inspire you, people that you can get support from, people that you can learn from is very, 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 very important.
Mr.
Go to
Abdulatif,
the
I'll just
last
add
question.
for this
Okay.
networking to really work, it's very important as teachers. We must not stay at our own convenience. Crawl out of your shells, stay out of your comfort zone, attend seminars, workshops, conferences. That's why you get to meet all these exceptional people and you're able to create a bond, a lasting bond that will bring about meaningful impact in your life and the life of every other person.
All right. Thank you so much. So please attend seminars, attend conferences, attend with people. So when you're in an event and then you ask yourself, don't run away from microphone, introduce yourself. And conference and the only thing you just go and learn alone. Make sure you also people because that is where you get I have a lot of people that is is a brand and we're able to do a lot of things together. Okay, so that's it. And I'm also going to add that expecting support from people too. Okay, also give support to people. It's very, very important. We're going to ask the last question now, and I'm going to start with Ms. Konde. Is can you please tell us about? I know you have a lot of initiative. We have Art for Life. We have She's a Good Mind, and we have a lot of other things that you do. Focus on Art for Life. I see a lot of things you have done with the students, in fact, a lot of competition you have participated in, even winning awards like that. So please, can you just tell us about what Art for Life, yes, and your vision for Art for Life?
All right. The Art for Life is my own intervention to transform the lives of the students in my placement community through performing arts. So when I got to my place of primary assignment, that's my school, Gaskia Senior College in Ijora Badia, I noticed that a lot of our students were not seriously engaged in education. They were not really interested in learning. Many of them did not have motivation. They had low self-esteem, and all of this impeded on the teaching and learning activities in the school, bringing about a low record of academic performance in the school. So I just thought about it that how can I resolve this issue? How can we bring about a change? And in my findings, I discovered that their environment was a major contributing factor. There was nobody in the environment to inspire them. There were no good role models, a lot of crime rates. So all of this have a way of influencing the students negatively, and it's bringing about all these problems that they experience in the school. So during my findings also, I discovered that these students loved entertainment. And if you are to get a monkey, you should yourself feel like a monkey. So I'll just hold on to that habit. So I thought about it that if I want to actually catch these people, I should catch them by what they enjoy the most. And that was what brought about the Act for Life project. I collaborated with a renowned theater organization to train my students in the art of music, dance, poetry, drama, and everything that encompasses performing arts. And really, these students have been doing well since their involvement in the Art for Life project. So since the inception of the Art for Life project, the students have developed skills like critical thinking skills, collaboration skills. They've been able to work with each other on various projects. They've been able to successfully connect with one another on meaningful works. These students have developed even writing abilities. They can now speak publicly. They can express themselves properly in English language compared to what I met there. Most of them prefer to speak in pidgin because of the environment, that Agegula environment. They were not too really into speaking quality English. They didn't have self-esteem, but now their self-esteem level has grown to a very good level. And I can tell you that we have witnessed remarkable changes even in the academic, because most of those skills they learn from the Art for Life, like most of the time they have to read versatile script, they have to write scripts even on their own, they have to work with each other, make research. It has helped them to build the 21st century skills which they have been able to transfer in the academics, and will be able to experience remarkable change even in the rate of attendance in the school. That's changed. The rate at which they engage in the education has also improved. I can say one particular experience. A particular student who was initially known for hooliganism, street fights. This particular student, because of his involvement in the Art for Life project, has been able to channel his energy into profitable adventures. He writes music, he writes songs, he writes poems, stories, and even currently is working on publishing his own storybook. So he has even led his team on various meaningful works. So all of these ways are ways in which Art for Life is benefiting the lives of students, improving them academically and in all aspects of their lives. And in the last edition of the Teenage Festival of Life competition, uh, held by the Action Health Incorporated. My students, the Art for Life students, participated in the competition. Out of 370 schools that registered for this competition, they were they were able to come out with fifth position in the poetry category, and they were given a certificate of award as well as other gifts to recognize in recognition of their efforts in the competition. You can imagine students who were once underachievers, students who could not come out boldly to speak, students who did not have a good perception of themselves, students who never thought they could do uh, those remarkable stuffs, students who did not have high retention ability. They are the ones coming out to achieve these great feats in the Teenage Festival of Life competition. So these and many more successes are what we have recorded since the inception of the Art for Life. And I should also share this with you that currently my students are working on their first movie production. All of this bettered from the Art for Life projects. Thank you.
Wow, wow, this is so inspiring. Thank you so much for all you do for the students. Thank you so much for the wonderful initiative and the wonderful work you're doing with Art for Life. And they having this conversation is to show educators the power they have to actually make change. And that's why this session is titled Inspiring Change. So regardless of whatever you do right now, yes, there's a lot of things you can do with your students. Here. I want every educator to make that commitment to be that person that is going to be the reason for remarkable changes in the life of their students. So we just please can you tell us about EduCycle? I know your work is with EduCycle on literacy and a lot of things that you're doing with that. So can you tell us about the EduCycle and what you've been able to do so far?
Okay. Thank you very much. So EduCycle was born out of passion to empower children in underserved communities through literacy. So it all started this way. There was this particular day that a student and some of our friends came to me. They were having misunderstanding. And so they came to me to resolve the matter. So I needed to hear their side of the story. So each of them spoke. And there was this particular girl, it was her turn to speak. She was just looking at me. She did not say anything. So I tried everything humanly possible for her to speak, but she kept on looking at me. So later on, a student just walked up to me and quickly told me that I should allow her express herself in her mother tongue, that's Yoruba language. So I said, okay, please express yourself anyhow you can. So and lo and behold, she started talking in Yoruba. She started speaking and she said everything in detail. I was so amazed. I was so surprised. Ah, so I was perplexed. What could be the problem? That she was not able to express herself. So I eventually found out that she could not speak in English. So that was the major problem. So I called her later personally and I dug into her background to know what the problem was. And to my amazement, to my English that was the problem at that time. She could not also read or even write anything in English. The only thing she could do successfully at that time was to read the English alphabet, A, B, C, and the rest. So that was the only thing she could do. So it was a challenge, and I took it upon myself to help her overcome this challenge. And one thing I did then was to do a tutorial for her for that spanned for some weeks. So I was tutoring her on how to read, speak, and even write in English. And to my amazement, in 6 weeks, yes, at 6 weeks of tutelage, she was able to read and write up to 5 letter words successfully in English. So, and at that time, it was not just this particular student. And at that time, she was 17 years old in JSS1. I learned that she repeated that class because of this particular problem. So she was not the only one facing this literacy challenge at that time. We had other students too also in her shoes. And as a result of that, I was inspired to set up the EduCycle Hub. And the aim was to empower these children that are challenged in terms of basic literacy skills, the reading, speaking, and writing, to help them to develop these literacy skills so that at the end of the day, they don't end up failing, and the cycle of disadvantage becomes multiplied, increases all through generations. Because I've seen cases of students, because they are not able to read and write, they write exams, fail, and as a result, they just drop out of school, and the cycle continues that way. So, and the EduCycle project, since its inception, has made tremendous impact, and I'll mention some of them. One of which is the creation of a resource center in my placement school. Yes, we created a resource center through the initiative, and the resource center is equipped with books, computers, and other facilities to enable students explore. And secondly, we also organize different literacy workshops and even digital trainings in partnership with individuals and non-governmental organizations for these students to gain hands-on experiences and develop 21st century skills that will enable them to thrive, not just now and even in future to come. Then we have also seen cases of students not being able to express themselves boldly in public, but as a result of joining this initiative, they have been groomed, and so they can now speak. Yes, I can categorically say that they can speak in public before audience of about 2,500 students, even teacher inclusive. Then we have also been able to gain grant support, yes, from organizations to help us carry on initiatives in our community. And we've also found out that this literacy challenge does not just start in the secondary level of education. The foundational, the foundation of this problem is in the primary school. Many of these students do not have the right skills, do not have the right exposure to gaining these basic literacy skills, reading, writing, and speaking from their foundational level of education, that's primary school. And so we have looked for a way to expand our impact, not just in secondary schools, but to our primary schools, to see how we can help these children develop reading culture that can enhance their literacy in speaking, reading, and writing. And so we are taking on initiatives to donate educational materials to schools outside our environs. Yes, we have done this. And coming next week, we're going to be visiting primary schools in our communities, and we're going to be reaching out to 150 pupils in primary schools to donate to them literary books. And not just this, we have any more initiatives coming. We have more initiatives, we have more ways, we have the intention of reaching even more students and pupils that we have reached for now. So I would want to add, for educators who are watching us right now, I made a post earlier on my Facebook. I said that in every child there is an A. It is now left to you as a teacher to discover that A and make it A plus. What am I saying in essence? Most of the time we emphasize on this child is dull, you can't even assimilate mathematics, English language, that and that. But do you know that in every child there is an underlying potential, even far from the academics? Every child is bestowed with different talents, different strengths that you yourself and even that child is yet to discover. It now takes an understanding and patient teacher to be able to discover that particular gift that child has. When you discover it, you're able to nurture it and help that child realize his full potential. I mentioned this earlier when I was speaking about my Art for Life project. Many of these students were underachievers. They were not doing well academically, but I discovered their strength. I knew they loved entertainment. I decided to step in with my Art for Life project, and I engaged them in so many activities that require that critical thinking skills, that require them to collaborate with others, that require them to solve problems. So all of these things built them. It was able to bring out their particular talents. And by virtue of nurturing these talents, they were able to transfer every skill they learned into their academics. So if a child is not doing well academically, try other means. Try to look for some special abilities that child possesses. Develop that strength, work on that child, and you'll find that the child will eventually turn it into his academics, and you will achieve the result that you have been craving for all the while. So additionally, I would like to mention that it's not just about being a teacher in the classroom. Yes, impact moves beyond that. You can't just be in the classroom and say you are writing lesson notes, you're updating your statutory records. There are other ways you can become exceptional as teachers. So that is why you should be observant. When you get into a particular school or into a particular environment, you study the environment, see the most the most difficult thing that is serving as a challenge in that particular school. or environment and try to be a problem solver. So when you have the mindset that you want to solve a problem, you easily identify the problem or the challenge that is going on in a particular school or a community. Even if it's just one that you want to work on, please do so at your own best capacity, and you see that you be a solution to several other people's problems.
Wow, wow, wow. This is so amazing. Thank you so much. This your I really love a lot of the things you have shared. These are really things that educators need to hear. These are things that we need to key into. These are things that educators we need to take responsibility for. Thank you so much for not just seeing the challenges, but taking the responsibility to be the solution, to the solution. And I'm really glad that you have been able to do amazing work with your students. I know they will never forget you. And right here, so I know that a lot of educators are here who are listening and are still going to watch the replay of this. And from just your story, they're going to get inspired and they're going to get started with their initiative. And as they have mentioned earlier about TFN, Teach for Nigeria is something I think I heard about it since 2021. But fortunately, I would have loved to apply. But fortunately, I don't have the requirements yet because I don't have a BSc degree yet. So I have to finish my NYSC. Maybe by then, maybe I'm going to apply or maybe not. But then, Teach for Nigeria is really something that you want to key into. There are a lot of things you're going to learn. It's not just a fellowship where you just teach, you get empowered with a lot of other skills. So, to our guests, thank you so much for being part of the. Our time has really expired, but I can't. We are really, in fact, our second speaker has been waiting. But then, thank you so very much for honoring this invitation. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Thank you so much for inspiring us with your story. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please let's thank our panelists. They're about to go. Do you learn something? Do you learn something from them? What are the things that stood out to you?
Please,
So
Mr.
thank you so much,
Abdulatif, spare me a few seconds.
ma'am.
Can you spare me a few seconds? I want to leave a final word.
Okay, that's
Okay,
okay. You can
so
go
in
on.
everything you are doing as an educator, reward should not be your driving force. If you're after reward, you will fail. Yes, I can say that categorically. If you're after rewards, you will fail. Just do it for the love of it. Do it for the benefit that for the what's it called? That you want to impact lives, just for the sake of people in your community, not just that you want to have anything in return. So reward should not be a driving force. Thank you.
Okay, did Miss Coin just have a final word so that we can wrap this up?
So I would say that in the teaching profession, as a teacher, everybody teaches. Somebody said this to me, and that's the person of Mr. Adeola Adefemi said everybody teaches, everybody goes to class, everybody writes lesson notes, but dare to be different. Your impact project is what stands you out. So if you have not been taking any initiative as a teacher, please think about it. Try to discover a problem within your placement community and start working towards solving that problem. Thank you very much.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I have this question. I'll just like just answer in just 10 or 5 seconds. This person is asking, must you be an employable Muslim before you can be a member of for Nigeria? I think the answer is to that is no, because
Must
our
you be?
I mean, an employer of State before you can be a member of Teach
No,
for
you don't have
Nigeria.
to be an employee anyway. The only thing you need to do is just to have your first degree at hand. You must have finished your NYC as well. That's the only thing. You don't even have to have a background in education. But Teach for Nigeria makes provision for individuals to get a certification in education by the time you are in the fellowship already. So you are able to get your TRCN
All right,
through Teach for
thank you.
Nigeria, even as a graduate of any school of study.
All right, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much again for being part of this. I really appreciate your presence. I appreciate you sharing your story with us. It's really inspiring a lot, and I'm very
Thank you
sure that
very
a
much,
lot of
Mr.
people are going
Abdul.
to get inspiration from this. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you so much.
Abdul. Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Bye, Mark. Bye. Thank you,
Bye.
Mr. Iro. Thank you, Miss Mary. I hope the next time you are going to meet, I'll be able to recognize the two of them. I'll be able to, I'll be
Okay.
able to differentiate. All
All
right.
right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Thank
Mark.
you.
Okay. So we are moving on to our second speaker now. He has really been waiting. Thank you so much. Okay, you can. Okay, so thank you so much, Mr. Matthias. We're just going to be moving on to the second, what's it called, to the second speaker for today, and he's going to be speaking on community engagement, engaging with stakeholders to foster a collective commitment to community development. And our speaker for today is none other than Mr. Matthias. It's Jakpa. I don't know, did I get that correctly? And I would really love to know how to pronounce that well. So I'm just going to start by reading his profile. So Mr. Matthias embodies the essence of transformative education and community leadership. Let's confirm. Okay. And community leadership. With over 8 years of teaching experience, he has honed his craft as an exceptional educator, dedicated to empowering students and fostering their growth as leaders. Currently serving as a fellow, I'm glad I'm really saying this. I'm glad I saw this. Currently serving as a fellow of Teach for Nigeria in the underserved community of Owu Ijebu, Ijebu East of Ogun State. Matthias is not only teaching but also spearheading impactful community-based projects, demonstrating his commitment to holistic education and community development. As a fervent believer in teaching as a collective leadership, TACL, Matthias champions the philosophy of learners as teachers, teachers as learners, and the community as a source of power. His approach is systemic, recognizing the interconnectedness of education and community development. Through his extensive experience in community engagement, Matthias has mastered the art of co-creating a shared vision with communities and leveraging collaboration to drive positive change within schools and the wider community. Come on, the profile go on and go on, but because of our time, I'm just going to stop here. Thank you so much. Please let's welcome our speaker. Our speaker is here with us. Let's welcome our speaker. Can you say amazing, amazing profile? Thank you so much, and thank you so much, Mr. Matthias. You can please go ahead. Okay. Okay, will you be able to share your slide there, or should I do it from here, sir? Should I share it from here? Uh, Hello, I can't hear you yet. Okay, I don't know. Can you hear him? Can you hear me, sir? Hello, sir. I can't hear you yet, sir. Mr. Matthias, let me know if you can hear him. Okay, you can hear me clearly, but then I can't. I can't hear you yet, and you're not muted. Yeah, but I can hear some background. Okay, no problem. No problem, sir. So let me just get this thing ready. Okay, please give us a comment. Please give us a sec. Yeah. Okay. Okay. If you can still hear me, I can see you've joined. Okay. Amazing.
Hello, please confirm if you can hear me from your end, sir.
Yes, I can hear you. Perfect. I can hear you clearly from here now.
Okay.
Just please give me a sec. I want to get your slide. Okay, you can just please go on why I get a slide up.
Okay, there's no problem, sir. Thank you so much once again. Good morning, everyone. Just as Mr. Um, just as he has mentioned, my name is Matthias Ijakwa, and I want to really use this opportunity to appreciate Mr. Abdulatif for the opportunity. I'm really excited at the opportunity given to me and your team. May God bless you. And I want to really use this opportunity to thank as many that are in the call right now, trying to better themselves and improve on whatsoever they are doing currently as educators. So right away, we are going to be starting, and I'm going to be sharing with us community engagement, engaging stakeholders to foster a collective commitment to community development. So please, sir, I really appreciate if you can bring up the slide. So this is the topic we are going to be looking at. Please, once again, confirm if you can hear me, sir.
Yes, I can hear you. Perfect.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, sir. So,
Um,
in the course of this particular section or this discussion, we are going to be looking at some important issues that are going to really be beneficial to us in our journey as educator. And that will take me to slide number two. By the end of this session, we should have understood to a deeper level community engagement. What community engagement is, thereafter, we should also have a better understanding of what stakeholders are and how to identify stakeholders that are relevant to what we are doing as educators. Another thing I will still talk about in the course of the discussion is the strategies for effective community engagement. Strategies for community engagement. Then I'm still going to be talking about implementing community development projects. What do you need to implement successfully community-wide project? Then I'm still going to be talking about identifying and overcoming challenges in community engagement. In the course of trying to engage the community, collaborate with different stakeholders within the community, there are certain challenges or difficulties that may crop or that may creep up and how to handle them. Then finally, I'll be sure will telling you about some success stories of community engagement I have had, though these things are going to be weaved throughout the discussion as I'll be speaking to us. So let's dive in. The first one we are going to be looking at is that is taking me to test slide now. What is community engagement? At this time, I'm not going to be speaking on community engagement from a very wide perspective. I want to be speaking on community engagement from the perspective of an educator. So, in the context of an educator, what do we mean by community engagement? Though this is not far different, it's not so different from what community engagement in the wider context is. So, community engagement as an educator or in this context has to do with collaboratively partnering with as in is a collaborative partnership between educators and various stakeholders within the community, that is your placement community, to address shared goals and challenges. Please take note of the phrases shared goals and shared challenges. So community engagement actually just it entails involving community members, and as educators, who are the community members that are relevant to us, that our activities, what we are doing in the class and outside the class, are affected, have impact on. These are the parents of the children we are teaching, the students themselves, the students we are teaching, the NGOs within our locality, our community. You understand? The companies, the businesses, the administrators of schools, that is your own school administrators, your fellow teachers, and the community heads or leaders. These people are categorized as stakeholders that have vested interest in your activities as long as you are an educator. So you must be able, everything you are doing, in as much as you are trying to make impact both within the school, within the confines of your class, your school, and in the wider community. It is expected that you carry these people along. The extent to which you are able to carry them along will determine the extent of success that will be realized eventually. So, in a nutshell, this is what community engagement is. actively involving members of the community in trying to provide solutions, panacea to the challenges and difficulties that the community in question is facing. The question there is, why is this important as an educator? Why should I not just focus on my primary responsibility of teaching my learners, trying to make them understand as much as possible as spelled out by the syllabus or by the scheme of what we are using for them in the respective classes or subjects we are teaching them? It is important because in a contemporary society, the definition of who educator is beginning to change. Actually, this is how it is supposed to be right from the beginning, but before now it was not like this. But things are already changing. There's a change in the landscape of the education when it comes to who an educator is. Now, so as an educator, your primary responsibility or your responsibility does not just stop at the level of teaching in the class, imparting the children, well, the children or your learners in the class. It is part of it. It is sacrosanct. It is indispensable. However, you are also saddled with the responsibility as somebody that want to be impactful, as somebody that want to lead change within your environment, to do something that will bring about positive transformation within the community or the communities around you. So, what is the importance of community engagement? Why should I ensure that I leverage on the community when trying to carry out programs or initiatives? Number one is that as an educator, if you are able to leverage the power of the community, it will eventually enhance your students' outcome. I mean, academic outcome. You see, as people, for example, just it was really mentioned at the beginning that I'm serving as a fellow of Teach for Nigeria, and one thing that characterize our fellowship, for example, people like me that are posted to rural area, is that you see children that are coming to school without being fed, as in they have not eaten, they will come to school by 8 in the morning and stay till 2 in the afternoon. And for some of us that organize after school lesson, we keep them at school to around 4 p.m. Just imagine as an adult, if you are not fasting as a result of religious reason, you know how uncomfortable it can be, how disturbing it can be when you have not eaten for good number of hours. Now, put the children in such a condition. You understand? Then, when you are able to leverage the power of the community and you provide sustainable solution to issues like this, in the long run, it helps to enhance student academic outcome. In addition, we have children that come to school without notebook. At times, you begin to wonder, why is this child in school in the first place? You understand? Now, what are you supposed to do as as somebody, as a teacher and educator that want to make impact? Is to leverage the community, have partnership with people that have interest in helping to sponsor things of this nature, and they will provide books, textbooks, and this will help to better the experiences of your learners in class. Another thing is that another importance of community engagement is that it helps to increase stakeholders buy-in for projects and initiatives. Now, we just listened to the set of speakers that spoke before I came on board. They shared different stories of the transformative things they have been doing. And the truth is that if you look at some of these projects, just as they mentioned, most of the support and the support they get, they come from outsiders. So you may not be able to sponsor everything yourself. Let me give an instance. Currently, I'm executing a community-based project, and that is has to do with skill up program for about 65 women in the community, both women and girls. What brought about the initiative was because of the challenge I've seen both within my school and the wider community. I discovered that the children are actually not doing well. Why? To provide books for some of these children is a problem. Good number of them come to school without eating. You understand? If they even come to school with a lunch, the lunch is just ordinary gari with nothing in addition. You understand? So these are our experiences. I began to ask questions. Why is it like this? And I began to engage different level of stakeholders. I met with the women leader in the community. I began to visit parents at home. You understand? I began to ask questions around. And I eventually found out that they were not doing it out of shared wickedness. It's as a result of their financial background. The money is not there. I started thinking, asking questions, what one of the things to do is to give these people a kind of a skill up program something to be doing, empower them with skill. And besides giving them the skill, we decided to add empowerment to it. That is, we are not just giving them the skill, we have to give them the startup capital or the necessary facility they need to start up business immediately by the time they complete this training. Because if you leave them at that level after completing the training, if there's nothing to start with, they will still go back to the life that we are living. And as we are doing that, we constantly remind them that, say, we are not just doing this because we want to empower you, it's because we want these children to be taken good care of. So we are empowering you so that you can be in a better position to be of help to the children in school. The financial implication of this, we are talking about 3.9 million to be able to do this. And as an educator, I'm not expecting that to come out of my savings. You understand? And this is where the power of the community comes in. So the community along right from the beginning by engaging them, sharing your vision with them, telling them that this is a challenge community. Say, are you seeing it from a different, from the same perspective? If yes, what can we do? This is my suggestion. To what extent do you agree with it? What is your perspective? What's your opinion on this particular word matter? By then, because you are carrying them along, or you have started carrying them along from the very beginning, when it is time to proffer solution to that challenge, you get they are willing to support what the vision. Another thing that makes community engagement to be very important is that it aids better understanding of community needs. In the course of speaking, I said for me to be sure of what I was saying, to know the root cause, I started engaging parents. I had to visit some of them, good number of them at home. I have to speak with the community, what the women in the community, religious leader, some key people that were pointed out to me. And after engaging them in discussion, what am I doing? Engaging the community, asking questions from people that have been to know what actually the challenge and how to go about providing solution to these what challenges. So in the course of doing that, I have a better understanding of the people's need, their priorities and their preferences. Take note of this three terms: the needs of the people, their priorities, and their preferences. Do not just come up with a vision and impose it on the people. At times, is a challenge to these people, but what they are saying or what they are saying about that thing is quite different. At some other time, they may agree with you that is a challenge, but it is not a pressing challenge. So if you come up with a solution to something they don't consider as a real-time challenge, it's going to be like a waste of energy, a waste of time and resources, because you will not really get their support. Hello, sir, please, can I confirm if you can still hear me? Hello? Please, if you can hear me, can you type on the in the chat box, please? Thank you so much. Hello? Okay, thank you so much, sir. Yes, I just wanted to be sure. Yeah, so I will just run through the other one because I have so much to say. So it can lead to generation of innovative solution. I'm talking about the importance of community engagement. It leads to generation of innovative solution, and by actually relating, collaborating, engaging with the community, you are given the opportunity to assess diverse perspective to issues. So you may be seeing a particular thing from one perspective, but by the time you listen to the people who have lived within this territory for decades, they give you perspective you may have not considered before. Another thing is that it helps you to build stronger partnership with stakeholders that will be of help to you later. Another importance of community engagement is that it promotes equity and inclusion. I will spend time to talk about this later in the course of the session. Then it also empowers the community. What do I mean by empowering the community? I will explain this better. You are preparing the community to take ownership of anything you are doing as an impactful project, such that even in your absence, that project becomes sustainable. Then lastly, it enhances sustainability. When you are able to efficiently and effectively collaborate with community or engage them, It makes any project you are coming or bringing to the table to be sustainable in the long run. Please, let's go to the first slide, sir. Now, so at this point, I'm going to be speaking on identifying stakeholders and their interests. But before I continue, I want to ask a question. What initiative, it could be something you did within the confines of your school or in the wider community. What initiative did you execute recently and what was the role of the community? Please, I want you to use the chat box. Let me hear from you. I don't want to be the only one speaking. So what project did you initiate recently, whether it was within the conference, whether it was within the confines of your school or in the wider community, and what was the role of the community? And did the community come into play in that project you executed? Please, can anybody use the chat box? Okay, so as I will be expecting that, I'll be looking at the chat. So to save time, now there identify stakeholders and their interests. One thing that will make you to succeed when it comes to engaging the community is your ability to be able to identify relevant stakeholders that will contribute or that have vested interest in what you are doing as a teacher, as an educator. You understand? And as teachers, as educators, these are the people, these are the stakeholders. We have the parents there. You are the middle now. So we have the parents, we have the school head and teachers. You understand? As an educator and you want to make impact, to a very large extent, you are expected to carry your school head and your fellow teachers alongside. Although, just as a former set of speakers said, there are times they may not see things from your perspective, but try as much as you can to ensure that you sell the vision to them. Although, if they refuse to see it from the way you are saying it and you are trying to communicate as effective as possible, you have to still move on. But to a very large extent, for you to succeed, ensure you carry your school head along. Communicate effectively to him or her. Let us see the reasons. Let us see why what you are doing is sacrosanct, is important, is indispensable. Another set of people are the local government officials, the local government officers that has that whose duties and responsibility as to ensure that the education within the area is doing well. You can go to the state level also if the program you are doing has to involve officials. The NGOs and the businesses within your communities and stakeholders, the students themselves are the primary stakeholders. And everything you are doing, in as much as it involves them, have a way of communicating clearly and effectively to them. And if it is something you can bring them in, please try as much as you can to make them participatory. Then another group of people are the community leaders. See, as an educator that want to make real-time difference, that want to live as in specific changes and transformation within your community, you must have to be known by your community leaders. I'm not saying be known by your community leader just for the show of it. No, these are the people that you need to be communicating with. You need to be selling your vision with them. And once you are able to communicate clearly to them, they have the power, you understand, to link you if they are not even in the best position to be of help financially or provide the needed resources to ensure the execution of those projects. They can link you up with certain people within the communities, those within and those even outside the community that have interest in the development of the community to ensure that your programs are successful. You understand? So the community leaders, the parents, the school head and teachers, officials as the officers within the local government, the state, the NGOs, and the students are your stakeholders. Engage them very well, and you see the level of success you are going to achieve in the long run. Then I'm going to be moving to yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to be, thank you so much, Join Fire. Is an opportunity is a privilege to have you here. Thank you so much. Yeah, so strategies for effective engagement. Strategies for effective engagement. Now, I'll be talking about the importance of engaging stakeholders. I've talked about why the different stakeholders in the community. Now, another thing I just want to spend little time to talk about is the strategies for effective engagement. Number one is that you need to establish clear communication channel. One, to disseminate information, and secondly, to gather feedback from your stakeholders. See, stakeholder engagement or community engagement does not stop at the level of consultation. It is one thing to consult, it is another to get feedback. Let me share just something I did recently. At a time, I had to organize a girl child program in my community. And that was when I actually resumed my fellowship at the beginning. When I came into the community, one thing I noticed was high rate of teenage pregnancy in the community, and the high rate at which some students were dropping out of school. So you just see them roaming around in the street of the community. And I began to ask questions. I visited some parents, asked other relevant stakeholders, and I got to know that in fact it was really a disturbing thing for them all. So in the course of communicating this, they now told me that actually they have been looking for a way to proffer lasting solution to this. How can I help? And that was what led to the first program I organized in the community, which was a seminar, a day seminar. I brought speakers from different places to handle certain things, and I really got the support of the community. In fact, churches, when I had to start announcing it from the pulpit as though it was a religious program, I took advantage of platform from different schools. They started announcing it right from the assembly to ensure that they attended the program. And actually, the turnout was wow. And we were able to do something substantial. As is then, there has been a record of positive changes to the extent to which those occurrences are still coming. You understand? So, what am I trying to say? Establish clear communication channel. Don't only give them information, get feedbacks from them. What are they saying? What is their suggestion? That is one. Secondly, organize community meetings, workshops, and fora to facilitate dialogue and collaboration. What do I mean by this? Now, there are times it becomes necessary that before you carry out certain programs or certain initiatives that are targeted at solving certain problems, you need to get feedback from these people. Some of these people are not on WhatsApp, some of them are not on social media. How do you reach them? Organize a meeting. How do you organize a meeting? Meet the key person in the community. You may not be the one to call for the meeting. Meet the relevant stakeholder in the community and say, once you are able to, this is where the power of effective communication comes in, your ability to communicate your vision in clear terms. And once the person is able to buy into it, it will call for the meeting, and the necessary people will attend the meeting. You share the vision with them. This is another way of being successful, or that you can leverage on to be successful in in your outreaches or in the program you organize. Thank you so much, Priska. Priska said it is a free welfare and medical outreach. I host in the community. Bring medical doctors. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, that is a
Yes.
great one. Then number three is
Hello.
conducting survey.
Can you hello? Can
Hello,
you hear
sir.
me, sir? Yes.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I
Okay,
can hear you,
fine,
sir.
sir. So yes, so just want to inform you about like our time. I know we started late, but then the next speaker has an urgent appointment, and she's running late already. So just want to like inform you so that we can
So, like,
uh
how many minutes do I have more, sir?
okay, let's say 3 minutes, sir.
Ah,
Yes, it's just like
okay, there's no problem, sir.
all right, thank you so much.
So, so let me quickly move to my next slide then. So these are strategies you can employ for effective engagement. So the next slide, please, sir.
I'm on it already, sir. That's it.
Okay.
You didn't
Okay.
that.
So building partnership and its importance. So I will just spell this out without explaining. So it gives you opportunity for you to build successful partnership with your stakeholders. You need to spell out the mutual benefit for all parties. They want to know how does this align with what we are doing? What is my benefit for some of the partners? So you must be able to clearly state that. Establish a trust and rapport. You understand? Establish trust and rapport. Trust is very key. if you want to be successful in engaging the community. Ensure you have open communication, be transparent in your dealings, and be a person of integrity. Clear roles and responsibility. When you are engaged, but be flexible in your plans and strategies, because there are times certain challenges that are unforeseen will come up. So you should be able to make your plans and your initiative very flexible to accommodate this. Then celebrating successes and milestone is another thing that is very key in community engagement. I'm going to the next slide immediately, and that is implementing community development projects. Now, if you want to start an initiative or organize a program that will benefit the community, how do you go about it? Number one, identify community needs and priorities. And this can only be possible if you are engaging with them, speaking with them, meeting with them. Secondly, plan and design projects in collaboration with stakeholders. Please don't make the mistake of planning and imposing the plan on them. You will not get the support you need. You need to be careful in this area. Plan and design projects in collaboration with stakeholders. And these stakeholders in project implementation, try to carry them along in every phase of the project for it to be successful. Another thing is that establish clear monitoring and evaluation mechanism. I just have to run through because I'll be told that my time is almost up. Then be prepared to adapt and adjust project strategy based on changing circumstances. Then celebrate successes and share learnings with stakeholders. Please, as you are doing your project, you'll be getting sponsorship, financial sponsorship, in human resource investment, and all the rest. Ensure you share the successes you are recording with them. It has a way of motivating them to do more. Then lastly, develop workable sustainability plan. See, the project you are executing is not successful until it becomes sustainable. And this is where the community comes in. Once you are not able to commit the community right from the beginning, in your absence, the impact will die. That project will not be sustainable. So try to carry them along from the very beginning. I think I'm going to my last slide now, and that is common challenges. Common challenges, that is addressing challenges in the community and in community engagement. Number one, these are not all the challenges, but I just picked some of them. Number one is resistance to change. There are some certain things you want to be speaking about, some ideas you want to bring up, and people may not see it the way you are saying it. There are people that don't want to subscribe to change, and it becomes a challenge. So another thing you will see is lack of resources. Actually, for most people that want to make impact, one challenge they usually face is lack of resources. Like I just talked about a program I'm currently executing, and the financial cost is about 3.9 million. You understand? For me to raise such money, I'm leveraging the community, not only my immediate community, the wider community. You understand? So this is one of the challenges people face, getting human resource people, the relevant personnel and the likes. The another thing is communication barrier. For example, I don't know how to speak Yoruba, and the community, what they understand is Yoruba. How do I communicate? How to bring somebody that will be interpreting and the likes. They're competing priorities. You need to understand the priorities of the community and take advantage of it. Then finally, under the challenges is power dynamics within the community. Anytime you are organizing a community-wide program or initiative, try to understand the power imbalances within your community so that you don't step on the toes of some people. And this is where inclusion and equity comes in. Bring in the marginalized group and ensure that you ask relevant questions to know how to go about what you are doing. Finally, under this, finally, yeah, I'm going to be speaking on strategy for addressing challenges. Uh, so the number one here is building trust and relationships, leveraging open communication, transparency, and integrity. I've spoken on this before, so I will not go into details again. Then communicate effectively. I'll be speaking on the importance of communicating effectively. Then the third one there is creatively addressing resource constraints. Yes, since there's no time, I would have want to delve deep into this area. How to really get resources for your for your program, for your initiative, for the impact you want to make, because this is one thing that is very key. So please, you need to be able to be innovative, be creative in navigating, you understand, to get resource for your programs. Then carefully navigate power dynamics. Be careful, understand the power imbalances within the community, and know the right set of people to meet. Build stakeholder capacity and empowerment. I will just dwell on this before I round up. Now, what I mean by building stakeholder capacity and empowerment is that when you are organizing an initiative, ask yourself, if I'm not in the picture, if I leave, for people like us that are fellow, we have 2 years maximum to spend within the community, unless if you decide to stay after your fellowship year. Now, when you move on with your life, what becomes of that program? How does it continue? How does the impact continue? This is where you need to empower the community people. You need to give them the relevant skill to be able to sustain that initiative even in your absence. For example, we have cases of people that set up computer lab in their school because they noticed that the computer science is being taught theoretically and there's no practical session. The children know not next to nothing in practical terms when it comes to computer, and they ended up setting up a computer lab with well furnished material, computers, laptops, and the likes. The question now is that the teachers in these schools, are they good at operating computer? What do they know? So the sustainability part will be teaching this to some of these teachers to be good at computer, so that even if you're not in the picture any longer, they will be in a position to teach these children. Finally, you need to ensure that you promote flexibility and adaptability. I've spoken on that. Let your project, let your initiative be flexible, so that when certain circumstances and challenges come, you can easily navigate them. Finally, as I round up, you need to foster, encourage collaboration. Don't do project all by yourself. Carry your school head along, fellow teachers along, and as many partners that are interested in your vision. So, as I conclude, I want to re-emphasize that community engagement is so essential for fostering commitment to holistic community development. Now, if you are able to implement good number of these things as said in the course of this session, I am quite sure, confident that you will be successful in your project. As I round up,
Wow.
Elisela has something to say, and this is what he said. He said, alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. So please
Wow.
leverage the power of the community, and you have so much testimony to give. Thank you so much.
Wow, 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 wow. Thank you so much for this amazing session. Thank you so much. We just appreciate our speaker. You really get a lot. And the importance of this particular session is actually that a lot of us, as Mr. One Coin has actually shared earlier, they have to do a lot of projects. And if you're going to do a lot of projects, you can't do it alone. You have to engage your community. And that's the importance of it. And that's why we deem it free that we need to have a session on this. And I hope and Mr. Martins has really done justice to it. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing from your words of knowledge and experience. Thank you so much. It's really empowering, and I don't really take it for granted. Thank you. Going to be moving on right away to the next session now. We are really running out of time. Okay, so I'm just going to bring her up immediately. We have Coach Omolara yesterday. Thank you so much for being part of this. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. We're just going to introduce her to the Okay, so various platforms and an early childhood education consultant. She's a UNESCO MGIEP digital and social emotional educator and a staff of 1 million teachers. She has been teaching for more than 2 decades. So thank you so much. And I need to mention that Miss Coach Omola is actually my mentor. Thank you so much. One minister mentor. Thank you so much for all your encouragement. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you so much for everything you do. I really appreciate it, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma. So she's going to be speaking on building resilient learners, teaching grit and perseverance in the face of challenges. Okay, so please let's pay attention. This is very, very important. We are in times when our learners, as much as we think we are facing challenges, our learners also have a lot of challenges they are going through. And then as a teachers, you need to empower your learners so that they can be able to overcome those challenges. And that's what she's going to be speaking to today. Thank you, ma. You can go ahead, ma.
All right, all right. Thank you. I believe you can hear me clearly.
Yes, amazing. I can hear you clearly, ma.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Good morning to you all, wherever you're joining us from, all over the states, all over the country. And if peradventure we have those outside of the country, I say good day to you all. Yes, I'm going to be speaking on building resilience in learners or building resilient learners, teaching grit and perseverance in the face of challenges. Um, as teachers, one thing, the first thing you need to know about teaching or about your students is that there are challenges everywhere, and students are human beings. Sometimes we teachers we tend to forget that students are human beings like us. They have the same feelings, they go through the same things that we go through, and so they need special attention in many areas. And that's the reason you need to always be there for them, to build them up to be successful in life, to find happiness, to be motivated, and so on. So, talking of grit and resilience, these two things, they are very popular terms in education that they move students' motivation, their happiness, and their success. And teachers must never forget that. These two terms, resilience and grit, they are learnable behaviors. No one has those behaviors from birth. No. They are things you learn, and they are thoughts, they are actions that help you to cope with stress, to face adversity or trauma, and bounce back hale and hearty and even better than when you started. So you see that these two things are very important in the classroom. So, what is resilience? Resilience is an attribute that helps us recover from negative events or feelings, cope with challenges and adversity, and take care of ourselves. I'll say that again. Resilience is an attribute that helps us to recover from negative events or negative feelings, and help that is in challenges and adversity, and help us to take care of ourselves. So you can see that it's important that as teachers, we need to build resilience in ourselves first, and then in our students, because they go through a lot. There's a lot of trauma that many school children go through. But as teachers, sometimes we don't understand these things. We don't even think that children can go through trauma. But of course, they are. There are a lot of things that are happening in their homes. There are a lot of things that are happening around them. And so we need to be there for them, to help them build resilience in the face of adversity and challenges. So, what is grit? Grit is the ability to maintain passion, to maintain motivation and effort when developing a mastery of a particular thing, something new you are learning. So grit is the ability or the skill that helps you to move on when you are learning a new thing, when you are gaining a mastery of something. The motivation that you need, the passion that you need, and the effort that you need in developing mastery of this new thing. Of grit, what are the characteristics of someone who has grit? Number one, you should be able to manage your emotions. You should be able to manage your emotions, and that is why it is important that you know emotional intelligence, or you have emotional intelligence. These are core things that as teachers we need to learn and also to teach our students. You need to manage your emotions. Of course, emotions will rise. Of course, you have emotions, things, issues will arise in your home, around you, in the community, in the school, and so on, with your boss, with your colleagues, and so on. Of course, emotions are good and you need to express them. But where the intelligence comes in is that you need to learn to manage the emotions appropriately. And you need to teach your students to also be able to express their emotions. We shouldn't shut them up when they want to express their emotions. Of course, they need to express their anger, they need to express their displeasures, they need to express when they are happy, when they are sad, and so on. So it is your job as a teacher to train them, to help them to manage these emotions. So this is one of the characteristics of a gritty person. Another one is awareness of strength. You should be able to manage, to be aware of your strengths. Resilience and grit helps you to be aware of your strengths. Many times there are a lot of strengths, there are a lot of capabilities, there are a lot of things that we have in us that are buried there, a lot of talents. You can only know that you have these things when you are faced with challenges and you are able to keep going until you overcome those challenges. And that is why I said earlier on that resilience and grit are learned. They are not, they are not things that you are born with. They are things you learn as you go on in life. They help you to overcome challenges and trauma and just name it. Another characteristics of someone who has grit is persistent determination. You must be determined no matter what. There are a lot of things that can deter you or that can stop you from achieving your goals in life. That can stop you from achieving your goals in life. There are many things that can stop your students from succeeding. Even if you are the best teacher on earth, if that student is facing so many challenges and there's no one to help him, to encourage him, to push him through, then he's not going to be successful. So, as someone who has grit, one of your characteristics is that you must be determined. You must have persistent determination in things, in whatever you do. Another characteristic is passion-driven focus. Passion-driven focus. Now you need to note that, not reward driven focus, not reward, but passion. Because when you are driven by reward, when the reward is not there any longer or is not forthcoming, then you lose your focus, you lose your motivation. But when your focus is based on passion, nothing can stop you. Challenges cannot stop you. What's another characteristic is resourcefulness. Resourcefulness. What is resourcefulness? Being able to think creatively, being able to bring out something from nothing, being able to uh, to face any circumstance and come out with innovations. That is what resourcefulness is all about. And anyone who has grit and perseverance or resilience should be able to be resourceful. Another characteristic is personal sense of control. There has to be, you must have personal sense of control. Of course, there are times that you want to give up. There are times that you are just tired. There are times that issues of life want to overcome you. But then you must have a sense of control, a charge over these things. Another characteristic is ability to reach out to others. You should have the ability to reach out to others. Don't be selfish. The more you help people, the better you become. When you help others to solve their problems, you get ideas, you get creativity, you become a critical thinker, and as a result, you will be able to help yourself. So the more you help people, the better you become. That is what ability to reach out to others means. And then we have problem solving skills. This also goes in line with the fact that the more you help people, the better you become. The more skills you have in solving problems, whether in the classroom or outside of it. And then I'm not the last characteristic I'm going to mention is bouncing back. Bouncing back. If you are gritty, if you have resilience, you'll be able to always bounce back. No matter the situation, you always bounce back. You may go down, but then you don't remain down. You come up again. All these characteristics are what you as a teacher must have and what you should teach your learners to have. You should equip them, help them to equip themselves with all these characteristics. So what is the main point? What are the main points in being gritty or in having resilience? One, students and teachers can learn skills to improve their grit and resilience. As a teacher, you should equip yourself and your students with skills to improve your grit and resilience. You must be resourceful. You search out skills, search out opportunities, search out things that will help you in the classroom. As you are teaching them to your students, you are also learning. So as a teacher, you don't remain on one spot. You ensure that you learn all the time. Learn something new before going to the classroom in a week. When you learn something new, teach it to your students. As you teach them, you and your students become better. You become more resilient and gritty. Another key point is that as a teacher, you need to start with yourself. Don't start and end with your degree. Whatever degree you are holding, either bachelor's degree, master's degree, or what have you. And I tell you the truth, you cannot gain mastery of what you are doing with just your degree. No, you can't. There are a lot of professional things that are going on in education that you can never learn in the university. There are a lot. In fact, I can tell you a lot, and I can mention 1, 2, 3 people that they have minimal university degree, but have acquired a lot of professional skills in education and are flying high. So as a teacher, change, you must have an attitude of improving connection with your students. You must improve the connection between you and your students. Don't be an aloof teacher. Don't be an absent teacher. Be present. You may say, oh, of course, I'm always present in class. Yes, you are present in class, but are you present in the actual sense of the word? Are you allowing the situation around you, around your personal lives to affect what you are doing in your classrooms? This should not be. You must be present in your classroom. You must have connections. Connect with your students. By so doing, you know them well, You know how they want to learn and how they can learn better. You know what they are facing. There are some students, what they are facing are even more than what some adults are facing. You would never believe it until you get close to those students. Teachers can learn to nurture and instruct these skills. Nurture resilience and grit in yourself, and then teach it to your students. Teach it to your students. It's very important. It will make your work easier in the classroom. It will give you better successes in the classroom. It will make you a role model for even your colleagues and your bosses. They are going to, they will be in awe of you. They will be in awe of you. I could remember there was a time when I started my teaching profession. I started with school SAT, and the first school I taught, at a point, I got to a stage where I was actually doubling as a classroom teacher and the head of school. And when I say the head of school, you might think, oh, that school is a mushroom school. No, it wasn't a mushroom school. Actually, it was even a Montessori school. And we had graduates in the classrooms, master's degree holders in the classrooms. But as a school SAT holder, I was doubling as a classroom teacher and as the head of school or the head teacher. Why? Because I found time to develop myself, professionally. So it doesn't matter the degree you are holding. It doesn't matter your level of education. What matters is that you keep developing yourself. So what are the strategies that you need as a teacher to nurture resilience and grit? What are the strategies that you need to nurture resilience and grit? One, be present and find joy in being with your students. Find joy in being with your students. Many teachers will enter the classroom with so hard or so sullen face, and the students, by just looking at you, they would know, oh, Miss is not in good condition today, so we better behave ourselves. But as a teacher, of course, you too, you have challenges, you have things that, adversities and sometimes traumas. But you can turn those things to positivity. You can turn it to a learning ground for your students. You could come into the classroom. Of course, maybe you had a bad day in the morning before getting to school. You could turn it to something that would be a learning ground for your students, even for you too. You could bring it up in the classroom and discuss it and let your students know that this is one of the challenges of life that nobody can run away from. And in such cases, what would you do? So it could be something that you and your students can discuss in the classroom. You don't have to bear it alone. You don't have to feel almighty in your classroom. Bring your challenges to the classrooms and make the students comfortable to also bring theirs. Because when they look at you, say, oh, even Miss is bringing her challenges to the classroom and she's seeking our contributions. So they will feel relaxed and they will build a kind of trust in you that will help them to also bring their challenges to the classroom, knowing fully well that no one is going to make jest of them. So be present in the classroom and nurture, connection with your students. Number two, nurture caring and supportive relationships. Caring and supportive relationships and make each student feel valued. Make all your students feel valued. Don't don't reject them. Don't make fun of their situations. Don't make fun of their suggestions or their contributions or their opinions in the classroom, no matter how little they are. Even if you teach in the kindergarten, those children have stories to tell. They have things to tell you. So listen to them and talk with them as if they are adults. And when you teach, if you teach in the primary or secondary school, say, oh, all the better. You become their friends. You share knowledge, you share information, you share your life's issues. Then offer guidance and high expectations in each student's potential for growth. Offer guidance in whatever issue that is brought to the classroom. And then set high expectations for your students. Give them tasks that will be challenging, but that they will be able to achieve. Challenging in the case of they should be able to look inward and say, yes, I can do this. And those talents, those abilities in them that they have refused to use for a long time will come surging out, and they will be able to to make use of those things. Set high expectations for them. Present opportunities for creative expressions and critical thinking. You must have a classroom where there is room for creative expressions and critical thinking. Don't just make your classroom a yes and no classroom, or a list and list or what have you classroom. You should make your classroom a creative classroom. Make it a critical thinking classroom, a classroom whereby you don't spoon feed them. Give them tasks that will get them thinking, that will get them creative. Build classroom community and provide opportunities for students to help one another. How do you build classroom community? Give them tasks, give them work that will engage them, that will help them to come together to share their understanding, their knowledge, and their everything they've got. Pair them, divide them into groups, let them do assignments, weekend assignments, go look for one another, to do things together that will help them to develop on their own without you as a teacher spoon feeding them. Help them to build this community among themselves. Teach your learners to see failure as opportunity to grow. Failure is good. You say, how is failure good? Failure is good in the sense that it gives you a reflective ground. When you fail, you sit back and you're able to reflect. Okay, what are the things I didn't do right? What are the things I was expected to do that I didn't do, or I did them but I didn't do them on time? These are the questions that will pop up when you face failure, and you better plan for the next success. So failure, make your students see failure as a learning ground, as an ability to grow. Don't use words and expressions that will make them remain as failures. Let them see themselves that they can make mistakes, and in their mistakes, they can actually come out with way out for success. And what are the, lastly, what are the classroom activities that you can engage in with your students to help them and you yourself to develop grit and perseverance or resilience? One, always hold dialogue with your students. Dialogue is very important. Don't just come into the classroom, teach your topic, and then get out. No, give room for dialogue in the classrooms. Don't spoon feed them with your topics that you brought into the classroom. You will be amazed that some of them even know what you don't know. So create room for dialogue in the classroom. Number two, avoid negative labels. Don't label anyone negative. When anyone has anything to say, listen to their opinion, listen, even if they didn't get it, use words of encouragement. Use words of encouragement. And then lastly, make positive comments about growth. Make positive comments about growth. Help them in their work, maybe in their notebooks. You just write a comment on how they could have done better in the test or in whatever you are giving them. Give them a pointer to something they could have done or places they could have looked for them to have performed better in whatever you have given them. All these things, they are what build grit and resilience in students. So as students, as teachers, first, you need to develop grit yourself. You need to develop resilience. If you are not resilient, if you are reward driven, then you will not be able to make any impact. I've listened to um, um, speakers that have spoken before me talking about community impact. If you don't make impact in your classroom, you can't make impact in the community. It's impossible. And then instead of you alone making impact, why don't you replicate yourself in your students so that the impact can be far reaching and quicker than you could expect? So it's very important as teachers for us to build grit and resilience in ourselves. Thank you very much.
Wow, wow, this is so great. This is so amazing. Thank you so much for this session. Thank you so much for all the sacrifices, for everything it takes to be here this morning. I really appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. Thanks so much for sharing from your words of value with us. So please just appreciate our speaker. Let's appreciate her. It takes a lot for her to be here. She has a very important but she still has to like come up and stay here even with delaying the session. And we're going to be having, we're going to be moving on to the next session now. So, thank you so much, Coach Kamalara. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you so much, man. Okay, so let's keep appreciating our next speaker is coming up immediately now, and I'm just going to go ahead with our profile. So are we getting value sense? Let me know. Are you getting value at all? How is this bootcamp big for you yet? How is it for you? How is it for you? Okay, someone is asking if they can get to ask question. Hey, our time, our time and our time and our time. Okay, so let's just take one question. I think Mr. Malai is still here. Just take one question. Okay, so Miss Bridget, please drop your question. Please drop your question so that because our next speaker is supposed to have come up by now. Okay, okay. As I said, what will happen is you can please send the question to the group. I'm just going to share it with her because she has an appointment to meet up with now. And yeah, she has an appointment to meet up with now. So I want to know your feedback. How is the session so far? Is it good time so far? Yes, and please don't forget, I posted on the group. We're going to be having an on adaptive learning. This was supposed to come up from what's it called? So that's why okay. So can you please give professional training we can get? Okay, that's the question. I'm going to send it to I'm going to paste on the group so that we can get response to it. Just give me a sec. I need to get our speaker to join us. Okay, so our speaker is coming up any minute from now. Okay, we're going to push some professional trainings we can engage in. Okay, I can see that these are a lot of. Okay, you know what will happen? Let me just give you this. We're going to be having her back here tomorrow. We're going to be having another panel session tomorrow, and she'll be anchoring the panel session. So just please, if you are there tomorrow, remember, and guess what? Tomorrow is going to be more on. The panel session tomorrow is going to be on professional development. Okay, so all the questions you have on professional training is going to be answered in that particular session. But now we're going to be having the next session on gamification in education. Okay, so we're going to be having gamification in education, engaging students through game-based learning. Okay, our speaker is ready for us. And I'm just going to okay, you welcome. Yes, my speaker is here. So I'm just going to go ahead to read our bio so that we can get to know who we're going to be speaking with. You're welcome. Can you hear me, ma? Good
Yes, I can
morning.
hear you. I can hear you.
So great to have you. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. Thank you so
Same
much.
here.
And
Thanks
I'm
for
very sorry
having me.
about the delay. Okay, so just going to read a short profile now. Okay, so Miss Dio is a hybrid educator, passionate about ensuring every child accesses quality education. She's an institutional designer, creating learning resources to promote active learning. Additionally, she trains teachers in online classroom and other strategies to boost learning in their classrooms and to also increase teachers' value and income. As an educational content creator, Ms. Dio shares solutions for educators through her social media platform, training, and her website, classroommatters.school.blog. She firmly believes that every child is important and can learn when taught the right way. So exactly, and we're going to be moving on, and she's going to be speaking on gamification in education, engaging students through game-based learning. So you're welcome to take the floor, ma. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me. Okay, so I have my slide off. So I want to say a good morning. Yeah, what's in the morning? Good morning to everyone, to all participants. And I want to say a very big thank you to the host. I'm often excited whenever I get opportunities like this to, speak about things I'm passionate about. Because I believe, you yourself cannot just enforce that change. You need everybody to be on the same page with you to be able to enforce that change. Now, today I'm going to be speaking on gamified learning. I love this a lot. I love this a lot. I'm going to check in on gamified learning, engaging students through game-based learning. Now, even before we dive into the topic, everyone knows children love games. Children love games. You'll see a child, even a child who is not up to one, a child who is not up to one, the moment the child sees a phone, they are already, scrolling through the phone and looking for that game to play. So now I want to look at gamified learning, engaging students through what they love best, game-based learning. Let's have the next slide. Now it says, what is gamification? What is gamification? Now it's very easy. It's very easy. So gamification is like adding the game-like elements. So such as your scoring points, earning badges, or completing challenges to non-game activities. So adding game-like element to non-game activities. For example, game-like elements for those of us who play Candy Crush. When you play Candy Crush, you are given points, you move to the next level, there's a new challenge and things like that. So adding those game-like element to non-game activities, that's what I would mean by gamification. So it says non-game activities like learning or work tasks. So now this makes activities more fun, engaging, motivating by tapping into a natural desire for development and reward. Now imagine if you have a maths class. So normally when we look at addition is like a non-game activity, right? Addition is like a non-game activity. Now, rather than you just teaching your students and then after the class, you just write, the traditional method of giving classwork. You just write your classwork on the board and you're like number one, number two, number three, number four. And for the whole term, it's like your students can even predict what you're going to do. They already know Miss Jumoke. The moment Miss Jumoke teaches mathematics, Miss Jumoke is going to write classwork on the board, and this is how Miss Jumoke is going to give her classwork. So you can like to twist it up a bit with gamification. Rather than they answering the classwork the normal way, you can say, okay, you can try to like group your students, like pair them up, and you're like, okay, can you choose from number 1 to 10, pick a number, and then they pick a number, they answer the question, and then you give them points. And then maybe after they've answered about 5 questions or so, you increase the difficulty level. Now that is like a really fun twist into the classroom. It brings out this excitement. They want to answer the question, they want their group to get the next point. And that is one of the I always love an active classroom. I love an active classroom. And whatever it is that is going to make my classroom very active, whatever it is that is going to keep my learners engaged, trust me, I am in for it. So let's have the next slide, please. Okay, it says benefits of game-based learning. Now, one, it increases engagement. Now, I always tell people that I have never had a quiet student in my class. Now, it's not that I haven't received quiet student, but trust me, the moment you step into my classroom, I'm just going to give you a week. You're not going to be quiet. My classroom is not a class for quiet student. I remember 2 months ago, I got a new student online, and when I was discussing with her mom was like, her daughter doesn't speak in the class. You ask her questions, she doesn't answer, and I was just looking at her and I was like, don't worry, just give us some weeks, and trust me, these days I try to like it's more like when we're done with the class, we leave about 20 more minutes just because she does a lot of talking in class. And that is what game-based learning does. It makes even that student you feel is quiet, that student you feel is reserved, it makes them really, really active. They are engaged. Like they want to participate in whatever activity that you're throwing at them. Now, the second one is it enhances learning retention. Now, we all know that children these days, and not even children, even adults these days, or some adults here, have a very low attention span. And one of the things we do in our classroom that even causes this low attention span is the fact that we do routine work in the sense that if you are used to this TikTok trend that they say Monday, Tuesday, so it's like Monday, everybody knows you're going to come to the class, you're writing on the board, you explain, and you're off. Tuesday, you're coming to the classroom, you're writing on the board, you're explaining, you're off. Wednesday, you're coming into the classroom, you're writing on the board, and you're off. And it's like your students already know, like some children will say, school is boring. Like, you can't blame them. If I know I'm going to be at a particular place for like 6 years, and then I'm coming to that class every day, and you're using the same method on me, you're saying the same thing, I would be bored. And I feel that is one of the things that causes this reduced retention span. So they've your learners has already predicted that this is what you're going to do. So the moment you're stepping into the classroom, they already know, yeah, this is so we are going to write notes and we are going to take classwork. That is why we have gamification. Trust me, with gamification, it enhances their learning retention. Once a child is excited about something, it's just like a movie. Someone tells you about a movie, and they're like, they've seen the movie, they're like trying to hint you on the things that happen in the movie, and you're really excited to watch that movie. Trust me, the moment you watch that movie, you would want to tell somebody. Is just like when everyone was talking about Tribe of Judah. You want to tell somebody, oh, I've watched this thing. You see people posting about it. Oh, what happened to Shino? What happened to this? What happened to that? That is what happens when a child is excited about learning. The child wants to tell you what he or she learned from the class. The child is asking you, oh, when are we going to have the next class? I remember then my student would be like, oh, Mr. Iro, when is the next science class? Oh, when is the next math class? What are we going to do? What should we bring? You know, they are really excited. And once you're able to get them in that, once you're able to get that excitement, trust me, a happy learner, an excited learner is the easiest learner to teach. And whatever it is that goes in at that particular time, it sticks. Whatever goes into that child's head at that particular time, that the child is excited, that the child is active, it sticks. So this is why we need gamification. If you're looking at enhancing learning retention, making it easy for your learners to, recall whatever it is you've taught them in class, then gamification is what you should start considering. Then the next one, we have personalized learning. Personalized learning. I do tell teachers, we are now in the stage where you really do not need to do all the work. Okay, so you really do not need to come into the class on Monday and you're the one talking, like your class is for like an hour, and then 90 you spent 50 minutes doing the talking, and then just 10 minutes for your learners, because you believe that whenever you come into the classroom and you're teaching a particular thing, you're teaching it because your learners do not understand it. Now we are no longer in that phase anymore. Trust me, we are no longer in that phase. I'm grateful for learning platforms that has made personalized learning very easy. Now your students can take charge of their own learning, so they don't necessarily need you to come into the class and do the whole talking. Now you can assign their learning to them. They can take control of their own learning. All you just need to do is to bring in gamification. As a young now, I love my phone a lot. I love my laptop a lot. If you want me to learn something, and okay, I love movies a lot. I love movies a lot. So if you want me to learn something, now let's look at it this way. I am more of a visual learner, meaning I love pictures, I love videos. I like something that can increase my imagination. I am not an audio learner. So imagine if you want me to learn a new concept, and there is a video of that particular lesson you want me to learn, and then there is a book on that particular thing. Trust me, if you should give me that book, I might need you to do the whole talking for that class, because the method at which you're using to teach me is not even a method that I'm interested in. So I might need you to do the whole talking. And even when you're done talking, I still might not understand the concept behind what you've taught me. But imagine if you should give me a movie that still explains that lesson. One thing is that is like my home. I love movies. So even before I even get to be introduced to the lesson, I'm already excited that I'm going to be learning that particular lesson through a movie. Now, the moment you give me that movie, I do not need you to like do most of the explanation. Fine, you might want to give me like a foundational lesson on what I'm about to watch, more like preparing my mind for what is about to happen. But the moment you present that movie to me and I'm done, trust me, when you ask me questions, I will be able to give you answers that would not have been possible if I had read a book on that particular lesson. I have a particular child I teach online, and I remember when we had to learn about fractions. So normally, what I would often do is maybe look for a PowerPoint slide, or like try to no just try to like work out some things on fraction. But I came across a particular learning site that talks about fractions, and it actually presented fractions using games. And I gave it to this my learner, and first of all, I told her, okay, try to explore it before I explain how this works. And to my surprise, I actually did not need to explain to her how it works. She was only supposed to work on proper fraction, but she ended up working on proper fraction. She worked on improper fraction, and she worked on mixed fraction. And I didn't have to do the work of explaining. So that is what gamified learning does. It promotes personalized learning. Then the last one, development of critical skills. For those of you who play Candy Crush, you would observe that it gets to a particular point where you have to like wait and kind of re-strategize. Should I move this? Should I move that? That is what game does. So aside just the child learning English, learning mathematics, the child is learning critical thinking, and that is like um, one of the most important skills that we need to survive in this particular century. So the child learns critical thinking. So these are the reasons. These are some of the reasons. Like we have a really long list of the benefits of gamified learning, but these are the four we'll just be looking at. So let's see the next slide, please. Okay. Now, I want to look at examples of learning. Now, I took this in two forms. I tried to take this in two forms. I took it in the sense that you're working in a school, as a teacher, you have a phone, or you work in a school where the students have access to a computer, or the students have, yeah, like students have access to internet in the school. So these are some of the platforms that support gamified learning. That the first one is Kahoot. I am yet to meet a child who doesn't like Kahoot. And you know the funny thing about Kahoot? That's why I said, like, can you please explain why you're not using gamified learning in your classroom? Now, the fun thing about Kahoot is like Kahoot is Kahoot is just like you giving a child a classwork. Now, remember when we talked about gamification? So it's not outside learning. It's not outside learning. We said gamification is you using game-like elements for non-gaming activities. Now, for example, okay, look at I have a student who has been working on her multiplication table. She has been working on her multiplication table, and then last week she told me, she said, Miss Taiwo, I've gotten to multiplication table 12, and I want to I want you to ask me questions on it so that I can answer. And I said, okay, in your next class, I'm going to be giving you classwork on multiplication table 12. And she said, can we please use Kahoot? And I was like, you want us to use Kahoot? And she said, yes, that she really loves it. That can we please use Kahoot? And I kind of imagined it. Maybe she had considered that if I should just ask her to write it down, there's no fun in it. I mean, learning is fun. Learning, we should understand that learning is fun. Learning is all about that child getting engaged. So her just writing, multiplication table 12 down in her notebook. That's like the normal thing she does. So she wanted it in a different way. And I just went on Kahoot and um I searched for multiplication table 12, and to like give her that, because I just didn't want her to know table 12. I also want her to be able to answer the questions quickly. Now, although Kahoot is time-based, meaning when they bring out question one, it's either they are giving the child 20 minutes or there about. But I just wanted to increase the difficulty level a bit. So what I did was I created the gaming link for Kahoot. I sent her the gaming link, and I also used the gaming link. So the moment a question comes up, I'm picking up the answer quickly, so that I can see, okay, is she really fast or she just know the. And to my surprise, like by the time it brought out the final score, there was a huge gap. Like she topped the Kahoot quiz, and there was a huge gap. She was really excited. Now it's like she was excited on one part because fine, she was able to complete her table 12. And not just that, she was also excited that she came out top. So she was excited that she won. Okay, someone is asking, are the software free? Yes, Kahoot is. So Kahoot has a free one and it has a premium one. That is a basic plan. It has a basic plan. But trust me, for the basic plan, you necessarily do not need a premium plan. So the basic plan got you covered. You just go to Kahoot, search on Kahoot, and you create you log in. Is going to ask you the package you want, if you want the basic package or other packages available. So you just need to choose the basic package. Then we have Minecraft, we have Duolingo. Duolingo is another platform again that so most of us who know Duolingo, we know it as a French platform. But I got to know that, not even I got to know, I work in a school where they use Duolingo for English, they use Duolingo for mathematics. But I think that is something your school would have to like register, and then each child has an account for it. But let's look at this one. This is Mr. Nurse Bam. Now I stumbled on this, and this was like I was blown. So Mr. Nussbaum, so if you're a science teacher, I think it also covers, yeah, I think it covers mathematics, English, and some other science subject. But the one I explored was for science. So you can go there, just type it, just that's why we have this. So just write it down in your notebook, and then just go um, on your browser and search for this. So it's free. Mr. Nussbaum is free, and it presents questions using a gamified setting. The next one, you have Shepherd Software. Shepherd Software is also a gaming platform. Maths Easily. Maths Easily is also a gaming platform. Now, I used to have a student who is very smart, or I have a student who is very smart. He's in year 4, and the moment you give him, we talk about critical thinking, critical thinking. The moment you give him a particular classwork, he's like, this is easy, this is easy. And truly, before you know, he has answered it. And I came across Maths Easily. So Maths Easily is a maths games platform. It has, I think it has kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2, down to grade 6, if I'm right. Each one of them coming based on difficulty level. And I went to the one on year 4, and I told him, okay, before we start today's class, I have a particular game for you. And he was like, oh, so easy, so easy. And I sent him the game website, and by the time he clicked on it, I was like, you're not done. And he said, this is quite different from what he used to know. So it actually took a while for him to figure out what he was supposed to do, and for him to finally complete it. So that is what gamified learning does. So that is what gamified learning does. Some of your learners are already used to the normal, and the thing is that, so one thing about gamified learning is, you as a teacher, if you want to set questions, trust me, you're kind of limited in the pattern at which you set questions. For example, you're teaching a grade 1 class, and you're teaching them addition. The only thing you might want to put on the board there is 23 plus 14. If Sam has 4 apples, and Sam's mom gives him 6 apples, how many apples does Sam have? How many apples does Sam have? It's like you're still following the same pattern. You're still following the same pattern. But with gamified learning, there are videos there, there are images, they're like different things. It's like the child is done with question 1, and then the next question is coming up, and the child is like, wow, what am I seeing here? So check out Math Easily. Okay, someone said, I thought Duolingo is only for learning language. So no, Duolingo is not only. I also thought Duolingo was just for learning language, but we have Duolingo for education. So there's Duolingo for education, where you have mathematics questions, English questions for from children. I think for children in elementary classes, I'm not really certain about that. Then you also have Math Playground. The thing is now, I wish I can get that video. So most times one thing I do is when I come across a particular learning platform or a gamified platform, I try to like test it out. And that morning I was just surfing the net, and I came across Maths Playground, and I decided to work on a multiplication game there. Oh my god. So basically this was how the multiplication game works. It's like a car race. So it's like a car race. You can either choose to, so if you have about 10 students who have access to their device, they can compete amongst themselves. But if you're only working with one device, then you can have a student competing with, I think, a student competing with computers. I think they have about four computers there. And so basically, as you're answering the question, the speed at which you use in answering the multiplication question is going to cause your own car to move. So if you're very slow, your own car will move slowly, and if you're very fast, your own car will move quickly. And trust me, the questions were not even difficult. Like the questions were not. It was like, I think it was single digit multiplication. Now this is what gamified learning does. It was single digit multiplication. I am a teacher for crying out loud. I am a teacher for crying out loud. I know my multiplication. I know my single digit multiplication. But when it came to this game, like, I so wanted my car to move fast, and I was surprised when it showed me 1 times 5, and I think I chose the wrong answer. And when I saw that I chose the wrong answer, I was like, what? Did I just choose? So that is what gamified learning does. Beyond even the child knowing this is what the answer is, it's testing the child's speed, it's testing the child ability to work with the distractions, because I'm looking at my car, I'm trying to answer my question, and I'm trying to ensure that I'm moving faster. So I'm also trying to think really fast, critical thinking. Critical thinking. So I'm trying to make sure that, and that is something that would not have happened if it was just a classwork. If it's a classwork, you tell the child, oh, you have 20 minutes for this, and then the child has all the time to like write and things like that. So there is actually no fun in that. And the fun thing about it is that, yes, it's quite similar to Marvin's Bacon. Yes, that's true. So the fun thing about Maths Playground is that Maths Playground is not just limited to mathematics. It has the English part also. It has the English part. It has puzzles. It has board games. It has a lot. Now, another one I just discovered is Pokey. Like, I'm in love with Pokey. I'm in love with Pokey. Pokey also has mind games. It has puzzles. It has like a whole lot of games. It has a whole lot of games. Gone are the days when we used to say, I was speaking with someone. I said, there was a particular trend. There is something that happens when your eyes get open to some possibilities, like when your eyes get open to certain things. I remember then, there was this particular training I went to, and by the time the person was like taking me through some things, I was almost crying. When I say I must almost cry or I cried, I just wish I could go back to the very first student I had and try to like implement all these things into their learning. I remember then, we used to have, and I know some teachers still do it now. You have some students that they term dull, which is very wrong. You have some students they term dull. This child does not know anything. Meanwhile, the main problem there, the main issue there is that you've not discovered how that child's learn. Now, there are some students in your class that you feel they don't know anything. There are some children in your class that you feel you've been teaching them, and then they still find it difficult to understand. This is another strategy that you would want to use. So please, let's go to the next slide.
Hello, Ma. Can you hear
Now,
me, Ma?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello. Okay, I just wanted to know that we have just 5 minutes left, man.
Okay. So if you're, like I said, the other one was for if you have access to the internet. But if you don't have access to the internet, these are still other gamified learning that you can try. You have board games. So board games like Scrabble, Monopoly. Scrabble can be used to teach spellings. You want your child to spell, you can use Scrabble to teach. Monopoly for mathematics. You have classroom challenges like spelling bee. So rather than doing the normal open your book, write dictation, and you're calling number one boy, number two girl, why not group your students? You can either try to group them or they work as an individual. They come to the front of the class, you call a word, they are timed, you call a word, they spell it, and you assign mark. That is you bringing gamification into the classroom. Mathematics race, more like how many questions can you solve in 30 seconds? For those of us who are used to Cowbepedia, how many seconds can you solve in this particular minute? Trying to task your learners. Role playing game. I remember when I taught my students about money. Now, rather than just giving them the usual 5 naira plus 10 naira, what we did was we did a role playing game. So we created a market in the classroom, no, outside the classroom, created a market. We brought different things from home, put price tag, they came with money, and they bought things and received change. That is still gamification. Educational escape rooms, memory games. So these are things we should try to bring into our classroom. These are all gamified platforms. So if you don't have access to the internet, these are still things that you can try in your classroom. So let's have the next slide, please. Let's have the next slide. Okay, thank you. Now, how do you implement gamification in the classroom? Like I often tell teachers, whenever you come to trainings like this and you're told about strategies and all that, I call them templates. I call them templates. Classroom differs. The learners in your classroom are not the same learners in my classroom. You might have audio learners or more visual learners in your classroom. And this particular class might have special needs learners in the classroom. So I call those strategies templates. So what are those things you should do if you want to implement gamification in your classroom? First of all, you need to set clear learning objective. Please do not do anything without a reason. Don't just say, students, today we are going to play Scrabble. Why are you playing Scrabble in the classroom? What is your reason? What is the learning objective? So whatever it is, whatever gamification method you want to use in your classroom, ensure you have clear learning objective. What is that? What is the purpose for that method? What is the child supposed to learn at the end of the game? And the second one is provide feedback and recognition. So whatever method you're using, you should be able to provide feedback. That means you really need to be observant. So being observant is one of the skills that we need as a teacher. So you need to be observant. Look at how your students respond to it individually. Look at how they respond, because child A might go well with a particular method, but then child B did not really embrace that particular method. So you should be able to provide feedback and recognition. Next one, foster collaboration. One of the things your classroom should do is to build interpersonal relationship with your learners. So one of the things your classroom should be able to achieve is that your learners should be able to learn to communicate with others. They should be able to learn to work with others. So that is what collaboration does. So you think about gamified learning that would foster collaboration so that your learners will learn how to accommodate others, how to work with. And I do advise teachers, whenever you're using these gaming platforms, whatever group works together on Monday should not be the same group that would work together this next time. So you want to ensure that everyone in the classroom is working together. Then the next one is continuously observe, assess, and improve. So I do not advise sticking to one particular method. So you've used this method for a particular while, you've carried out your observation, you've assessed your learners, and you find that okay, it seems there's this particular child that this method I use does not work with. What other method can I use for that child? That is what we mean by continuously observe, assess, and improve the methods you use in your classroom. So let's have the next slide, please. Okay, so in conclusion, Gamification is a fantastic tool. It's a fantastic tool for making education more fun and effective. Effective. A child is learning. I remember someone came to my class, and the person was like going through my student notes, and he saw that the notes were not lengthy, and it was like, what are the children learning? A child learning is not based on writing, the child having to copy a textbook in the notebook. No, that is not learning. Learning should be practical. If that child is asked a question, what kind of answer would that child give? Would that child give a textbook answer, or the child will give a practical answer because the child has been taken through that learning? So that is what gamification does. You're not just looking at textbook method. The child has practical. So when the child come outside the outside world, the child is able to relate whatever he or she has learned with his or her day-to-day activities, because the learning was made practical for the class. So by using game-like elements in teaching, educators can get students excited about learning and help them become more involved in their on their own education. You stop hearing things like school is boring. You stop hearing things like this child is dull, this child does not like reading, this child does not know addition. Every student in your class do not need to learn addition the same way. They are not of the same type, so they don't need to learn that particular lesson the same way. This prepares them well for the challenges of the future. So you see what I'm saying? This is just beyond your classroom. Gamification beyond gamification prepares the child for a life outside the classroom. It equips the child with skills that would help the child to thrive in the outside world. So, thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, or if you want to speak to me later on concerning this topic, I am always at your service. So, thank you for
Wow,
having
wow,
me.
this
Thank
is
you for
so
having me. Thank you
amazing.
for having me.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Dairo. Thank you so much for the amount of value shared. I hope you have learned a lot about gamification. Your class does not have to be boring. You don't have to do everything just with notes and just do everything as a routine work and just do it every day the same way. Just the same way. You can actually level some of these tools and are fantastic. They are most of them are even free. So please make sure you leverage them. And if you want to connect with Miss Dairo, just check her out on all social media. Yeah, I think she's Miss Dairo
Yeah, you can go to the
everywhere.
next slide. So I have my contact details there.
Okay, sure. All right. So you can connect with her. So this is how
So
to connect with her. So thank you so much, Miss Dairo. I really appreciate this.
thank you
Thank you
so
so
much
much.
for having
You know,
me.
thank you so much. I appreciate. Thank you so much, man. And then we're
Thank
going to be
you.
moving on to our last speaker for today. Thank you so much, Ma. Okay, let's see that. All right, thank you so much for still. I'm glad everybody is still here. So we're having our last session now, and this session is so very powerful. It's going to be on crafting compelling lesson plan. Our speaker is ready for us. Uh, yes. So please, you can afford to meet this. In fact, before we go on, before I even bring that up, let me know how is the session for you? So far, how is the session for you so far? Are you getting value? Are you learning? Is this worth your time at all? Let me know. And please, I want you all to go to the WhatsApp group. Go to the group and comment something. Say something in the group. Let them know that we are now on for the last session, and then they don't want to miss this. They have to be part of this. They have to be part of this. They should not miss it for anything. Okay. I'm glad the value advice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's have more of a feedback. And then before I bring over our speaker, I also need to remind you that my birthday gift is birthday gift I gave. So I announced yesterday that I'm going to be giving a 50% massive discount on my course, Flip like an expert course. It's going to take you through everything you need to know. Start developing the flip classroom. Okay, so actually, what I said yesterday was that it's only open to 25 teachers, and that's very okay. And then it's going to end today. But then I'm extending it to the end of this boot camp. So you have from now to the end of Friday, 11 to 9 p.m. on Friday, to take advantage of the offer. Though it's open to 25 teachers, five slot has been taken already to make 20. So you can still be one of the 20 teachers that take advantage of that. Okay? So I sent details to the group yesterday so you can check out the details or send me a message on WhatsApp. All right, thank you so much, everyone. I see that we have more people here. Let me have your feedback. How is the session going for you? Thank you so much, Mr. Aurora. It's a body movement for a while. Very interesting. Thank you. Our last speaker is coming up any moment from now. So, I don't know. Okay. Okay, our speaker is in. You're welcome, ma. You're welcome, ma. Good to have you here. Good evening. Good morning, Mark. Can you hear me? Can you see our
Yes,
speaker?
I
Last
can
speaker
hear
is here.
you.
Wow, wow, this is so amazing. Thank you so much for this. I know what it takes for you to be here this time around. At this time, I know what it takes. I know it takes a lot for you.
Thank
I don't take it for
you.
granted. I really thank you so much for honoring our invitation. So I'm just going to get started into it by reading out our profile. And if you don't know, this is Mrs. Joy Ifeanyi. Like, don't worry, when I start reading out the profile, you know what I'm talking about. So, Joy Ifeanyi is a highly skilled and experienced educator who is dedicated to improving access to quality education in underserved communities. With over 9 years of invaluable experience in the educational sector and community development, Joy has left an indelible mark on the lives of countless students in low income areas. Certified as a Microsoft Certified Educator, Microsoft Innovative Educator, Teach SDG Ambassador, CASIF Foundation Ambassador, and 1 million teachers touchdown. Joy's list of accolades speak volumes about her unwavering commitment to educational excellence. In her role as a 1 million teacher touchdown and mentor, Joy works tirelessly with teachers, guiding and nurturing their professional growth through the 1 million teachers innovative learning platform. Joyfei is the co-founder of Waste to Desk, a social innovation that seeks to provide school desks for students through the recycling of waste generated in the environment. So, welcome. Thank you so much, Mal. I'm just going to bring up your slide number, then, if possible, you can just go on, Ma. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Once again. Thank you, Ma.
Okay, good morning. Good morning. Good to be here. Good to be here. Like, I'm so excited. I've been on the call since morning, and I must say that I've been gaining value for every section. Like, I've had a lot on my notes already. So well done. And to the participant, thank you for being amazing. The chat has been buzzing with, takeaways, you know. So well done, everybody. So for me, I just want to have a discussion, right? We've heard a lot. We've heard a lot. We've been hearing from day one, day two, day three. So a lot has been said, right? So I want us to, as much as possible, have a very interactive and engaging section. So my topic today is crafting compelling lesson plans, engaging activities for active learning, right? So I'm going to focus more on engaging activities for active learning. So we're going to start with the lesson planning. I know that there is no teacher here that doesn't know how to, write a lesson plan in one way, because there are several types of lesson plans, just in case you don't know. So the lesson plan you are using in your school might be different from the one I'm using. And the one I'm using might be different from the one Mr. Abdul Atif is using. So there are lots and lots of different types of lesson plans. However, there is something that we can do. And that thing that we can do is to ensure that our lesson plans have engaging content that our students will be looking out for our experiences, right? They'll be looking out for different experiences because of what you are churning out. So we don't want our classrooms to be so boring that students already know what to expect. Like Ms. Dara said, a lot of students already know how your classroom is going to be. Oh, so Mr. J, when he comes to the class, after you do good morning, sir, the next thing is bring out your notebook. Funke, come and write this note on the board. Your students already can predict you. So one thing that has helped me over time in the teaching career is to ensure that you cannot predict me. Like, you cannot even tell what is going to happen in that day's class. And so I leave my students with what? An expectation. I want them to come to class every day with something on their mind. What is Mrs. Ifeanyi going to do today? What's our lesson plan going to look like? And that is what I want to, teach us today, how I've been going about it. So I'm talking not from the chat GPT or from one resource. I'm talking from what my lived experience, things that I have done in the classroom that has worked for me and has made learning different. When you walk into my classroom, you know that, yes, you're in Mrs. Ifeanyi's classroom. So our objectives today, we want to, at the end of our lesson, we're going to review elements of a lesson plan, right? Please take it back to the objectives so we understand what we want to gain from today. So we're going to review the elements of a lesson plan. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you that your lesson plan is wrong or mine is better. But what I want is that whatever style you have adopted, is it the 5 steps lesson plan? Is it the British way of writing? Whatever type of lesson plan you have adopted, you will, at the end of this lesson, be able to inculcate engaging lessons that will help the learning experience of your students. And we're also going to implement the 6 key parts of a lesson plan. So I decided that I was going to look across board several lesson plans and just look at the key elements so that when I'm sharing, somebody is not going to think that, oh, this thing she's talking about doesn't relate to the kind of lesson plan I write. No. So 6 key parts of a lesson plan. Then we'll see how we can understand SMART criteria in lesson planning. Let's watch this video, and please, I want to beg you, we're going to reflect on the video, right? So just pay attention. Okay, so you can play the video. Wow, it looks like the video isn't popping out. Okay, all right. Mr. Abdulatif,
Okay,
I just
do
sent you the
you?
video. It's a short, very short video. I just sent it to you. So
Okay,
see
I'm
if you
going
can
to.
access it.
Okay,
I just sent it to you on
okay,
WhatsApp.
I've seen it here.
Okay,
I'm downloading it already, so I'm going to bring it.
all right. So when we watch that video, right, I want us to just pick out something from it. Now, some of you might feel like the actors or the actresses, because that's what I call them in that video, you might just feel like these people are, do they really know? Like, did they plan for this? You will just wonder why people will come up with such kind of crazy ideas. But there is something we're going to pick out of it. Okay, I don't want us to waste time,
Okay,
right?
yeah,
Okay,
okay.
so if it's not coming up now, maybe we let it go and just move on to the next slide.
No, I
It's coming up, right?
Yeah.
And that's another thing about
Okay.
technology. So you have a plan, you have your plans already, and then technology will just tell you that calm down. Okay, so we have our video on.
This crazy living's got you out of control. It's so beside you when you're losing your soul. Whoa, whoa. She looks you over, make you look and get out. No passion lonely when you're all by yourself. Whoa, whoa. I won't break, won't shake, won't slow, won't fall. I won't break, won't shake, won't slow, won't fall. It's alright. This crazy living's got you out of control. It's alright. It's all beside you when you're losing your soul. It's alright. She looks you over with your luck and your health. It's alright. No prize when you're all by yourself. So won't break, won't shake.
Okay, so if it doesn't want to play now, you can just stop. Let's go back.
Lose this love, lose my mind. This crazy living's got you out of control. It's all beside you when you're losing your soul. Whoa,
And actually stop.
she looks you over with your luck and good health. No price so lonely when you're all by yourself. Whoa.
Okay. Do you want me to pause it?
Yes,
Let me
yes,
just
that's
continue.
all. So let's go back to the slide. So I want those of you on the call. I know that a lot of people might be watching later, and some of you are like 10 minutes behind. But if you're live on this call, tell me which of these situations did you find surprising? I'm going to look at the chat. Let me see which situation you found surprising. For me, it was a horse carrying that load. Like, how were you expecting one horse to carry all that? So let me see if there is going to be any comment. If you're watching live and you watch that video, which of the situations did you find surprising? Okay, so like I said, for me, it was the horse carrying that load. But you could tell that for all the situations or for all the um, parts of the video where there was a damage, it was a result of lack of planning. Oh, installation of the CCTV. Excuse me, like what was that person expecting? You put a CCTV and you're putting something to block it. But that just tells you that a lot of people do things without even planning. Like there is no plan in sight. And then sometimes you also see that some teachers want to make that mistake. They want to walk into their classrooms without a plan. How do you expect your classroom to go? How do you expect the learning experiences of your student for that day to be? And I want to tell you that it doesn't matter if the bike man almost flying off the bike. You see, lack of planning. What were you expecting? So, as I was saying, a lot of teachers want to say that, oh, I've been teaching for 10 years and I've been teaching this topic. So why should I go to class with a plan? This lesson plan is boring. I want to tell you that the reason why that lesson plan is boring is because what you have written there is boring. It doesn't matter if you have taught for 10 years or 20 years. You must ensure that you plan your lesson so that no minute will be spent in idleness. Sometimes you wonder, you walk into a classroom and you see that Students are not engaged. Students are making noise. Students are doing a lot of things beyond the teacher's control. I tell you, it is because there are lots of gaps in there are lots of dead ends. Let me put it that way. Please move to the next slide. There are lots of dead ends. There are lots of times that you did not account for. And that's why that lesson planning is very important. So I want you to take it that it doesn't matter if you've taught for 10 years. It doesn't matter if you've taught for 15 years. Every classroom is different. The students that were in your class last year, they are not the same students in your class this year. And so you need to plan. You need to plan for the new students. So just in case you're not a teacher and you just enjoy our webinar, what is a lesson plan? It is our guide. It is the roadmap. It is what helps you take your students from point A to point B. It is what helps you know that there are supposed to be checks as they journey from point A to point B. And you already know what the milestones should look like. You know what your students should gain at a certain point. It is what helps you to know that at this point, if my students are not getting this thing, then I need to take a step backwards. Because we as 21st century teachers, we should know that it is not about being in a hurry to finish your lesson plan. Do the students understand what you have taught? Do they have an experience? There is a difference between just learning and having an experience. Sometimes you go to you watch a movie. Let me take an example. If you've been to the cinema before, you will know that watching a movie in the cinema is different from watching a movie in your house. If you've been to the cinema to watch a movie, there's just this ambience, there's just this experience you gain when you watch it in the theater. You don't get that experience when you watch it at home on your flat screen. So sometimes people will be wondering that instead of me to go to the theater, I'll just sit there in my house. Hello, it is beyond the movie. It is about the experience. So it is beyond what you're teaching those children. It is about the experience you want them to have. And a lesson plan can help you achieve that if you plan it properly. Let's move to the next slide. So what are the elements of a lesson plan? Now, there are certain things that should happen before the actual lesson plan, right? And that stage is also very important. So it is not just picking up a pen and you just start writing. There is a stage that happens. There's something that happens before the actual planning. And that's why for those of us that have passed through the TFN fellowship, which is a Teach for Nigeria fellowship, the way we write our lesson plan is a backward planning. We follow the theory of backward planning in the sense that you plan from the end. You're planning your lesson from the end in mind. So you're not just starting from the beginning, you start from the end. In your consciousness, you have it that, see, this is where we are getting to in this plan. So what are those elements that you must consider? What are those elements you must consider when you want to plan your lesson? Who are you teaching? Who are you teaching? Who are the students you're teaching? So for me as a teacher, right, I started teaching like let's say 10 years ago, right? I started teaching in 2014. That's 10 years ago. How time flies. Oh my God, as young as I am. Anyways, not think that I'm that old. So I started teaching 10 years ago, right? And when I started teaching, I felt like I was going to be good in the secondary schools because actually my mind was I wanted to be a lecturer. When I didn't get admission to study law, and I said, okay, since I'm going to be a teacher, I'm not going to settle for children, I'm going to be a lecturer. So when it didn't really pan out for me to be a lecturer, and I said, okay, I'm going to be a secondary school teacher. So whenever opportunities for teaching primary comes, I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. But I'm going to tell you that a lot changed when I started moving up. So when I was teaching the secondary schools, right, I knew that the students I'm teaching, they are of this age bracket. So when I had to teach in the primary school, because I later had to teach in the primary school, I was like, let me give this an experience. Let me give this a shot, right? And then I went to a primary school. And yes, I loved it. I loved the two experiences. So going back, who are you teaching? Who are your students? What are you teaching? So your students, your classroom, who are the children that make up your classroom? What is the age bracket of the students in your class? Are they primary school students? Are they secondary school students? Do you have a child with special needs? Do you have children that are up and coming? We don't call them slow because children learn at their pace. So they are not slow, they're just up and coming, right? Do you have all A students, like all very vibrant students? Who are you teaching? You must put that at the back of your mind. Like Dairo said, she had a class where a student was always finishing before others. You have to put that into consideration. What are you teaching? I teach literacy. The way I will teach my literacy might not be the same way Mr. Abdulatif will teach his subjects, and the way chemistry teacher will teach. Who are you teaching? What are you teaching? And how will you teach? Very important. How will you teach? Will your classroom be student-centered? Will it be teacher-centered? How is it going to pan out? What is going to happen? And then how will I know if my students understand? This is the part that a lot of teachers don't spend time on. We don't want to know if our students understand, and it is wrong. It is wrong. We are in a hurry. We want to finish our scheme. We want to get the accolade that, hey, Mr. A has finished his scheme. Let's applaud him. Beyond that, do you take a pause to ask yourself that, do my students even understand? Do they understand this thing? So these are some of the things you will consider before you start your lesson plan, before you start that map, before you draw that map. Consider all these factors. Let's move to the next slide. Next slide. All right. So when you've thought about all this and you want to put your lesson into your notebook or your slides or however, right? You now ask yourself, our topic is what? For what? Active. We want to have an active classroom. What is the difference? Just in case you don't know, there are some classrooms that are passive, and that's the truth. And there are some classrooms that are active. Now, when students are passive learners, they have poorer retention. They have finished the notes. They have finished learning everything. Call them and ask them. They cannot remember. They cannot even remember one thing about your lesson. And then passive learners or passive teaching relies on what we call the lower order thinking. Lower what? Order thinking. We're going to see how we can, we have just 30 minutes and I'm trying to rush, but let's just move along. Lower order thinking. Passive learning, passive teaching, teacher-centered. You're the alpha and the omega of your classroom. It is only the things that you know that your students should know. Beyond what you know, your students don't know anything. Even the Bible, I'm a Christian. The Bible says that what? That we will have more understanding than our teachers. So it means that my students should have more understanding than I have. And so I'm always excited when my students come to class and tell me, Mrs. Ifeanyi, this is what I learned. And that's why I also encourage the flipped classroom. Because when you do that flipped classroom, your students will always engage in your lesson beyond the four walls of your school. So teacher-centered, are you the only alpha in your school? How dare you tell me that I got it wrong? Who are you? Do you know how I've been teaching even before you were born? They have lower attention level. When your classroom is passive, your students will be distracting. They will be distracting you. Like they will be distracting you. You will not even know where to start from. And for some of us that were in classrooms teaching over 300 students, we're in classrooms teaching over 100 students at a time. If your classroom is not engaging, sorry for you, because you will go to classroom and you will not come back the same way you went. Your hair will be flying. So you want to have an active classroom where students are involved. Then there is emphasis on memorization. Hello, class. What did we learn yesterday? And then your students start la cram, la pour, la cram, la pour. In your test, la cram, la pour. If they miss one word, Otilo, they are forgotten. If they miss just one letter, nothing again, they are forgotten what you taught them. Do you understand? Now, active classroom. Why are we saying we want an active classroom? Number one, better retention. My students, my goal is that my students will retain. In 5 years, they will remember that, Mrs. Ifeanyi's class, that woman, you and I that were students before, don't we remember teachers that were amazing? We do. Me, I still remember teachers that were very amazing, teachers that went beyond to teach us. Those ones that their classrooms were engaging. I still remember. So why don't you give your students that experience? Why? Why don't you want to step out of the comfort zone to give our students that experience we had? And then it encourages higher order thinking. I'm going to say a little about higher order thinking because that's a course on its own. And then it is student-centered. I will also show you how I make my classroom student-centered. Please stay to the end. And then there is greater student attention. See, my students look out. Like they want to, it's not like I'm saying that my classroom is a perfect classroom, no noise making. No, sometimes students want to play around. Students will always be students. But to a large extent, we have this attention. My students have this attention because they believe in me. They have confidence. They have confidence. And that's why you need to plan your lesson. So you don't come out shaking. A new teacher met me and he was like, Miss Ifeanyi, I really need you to talk to me about having confidence in front of my students. I told him it starts from your lesson. It starts from your planning. If you don't plan your lesson, you're planning to fail. You're planning to stand in front of your students and just look at your textbook. You're planning to stand in front of your students and just make your students feel like you don't have anything beyond that textbook. And then it encourages collaboration. Active learning encourages collaboration. And it emphasizes on process over results. Let me complete it for you. Process over results. So a child, now just imagine, those of you teaching maths, a child, you give them 2 plus 2. Sorry, I'm a literacy teacher. So let me just use the simple one. 2 plus 2, right? And a child just comes, 4. Probably he heard his brother saying it the other day, 4. And then you call that child and say, so how did you arrive at 4? And the guy is looking at you. And then you call the other child and the child is saying, Auntie, I did 2, 1, 2. And I added another 2. Which one will you applaud more? Of course, the process. You understand that the child also knows what he is doing. So it is always process over result. I acknowledge my children when I see the process, and I love the process more than just the results. So for us in Africa, we always want results. Anyhow you want to make the money, make it. Just make money. What about the process? So I will applaud a child for getting the process right before the results. If at the end of the process you got the results correctly, oh, that's amazing. But if you got the process right and in one way or the other you missed it and then you did not get the result, I'll still applaud you because you got the process right. That's the difference between what passive and active learning. Let's just move straight. Yeah. Next slide. Okay, so the 6th part, we're looking at objective. So because of time, right, we're just going to move, just keep moving for me, then I'll tell you where to take a pause. So these are the 6 parts. We know our lesson. So let's wait here a little. Yes, let's wait here. No. Move to the next one. We know our lesson objectives. Every teacher will start a lesson plan with, oh, at the end of the lesson, I don't want us to start arguing about if it's supposed to be at the end or by the end. Everybody, before you know, some people will say, no, it's supposed to be by the end of the lesson. There have been a lot of argument about that. But yes, let's focus on the objectives. How do you go about your objectives? The objectives of your lesson will tell me if you want your classroom to be an active one or a passive one. Start with having a smart learning objective. What is the smart learning objective? It has to be specific. You don't want to start your objective with something ambiguous. Even the person supervising your lesson does not even know what you want your students to know. So how will your students even get the point when your lesson objective is very ambiguous? You want to be specific. You want to be able to measure. You want to measure what you're done at the end. You want to measure it. Is it attainable? You have 40 minutes for a lesson. And probably, let's say you're taking civic, you have just one period, 40 minutes, and you're writing a lot of things, right? A lot. How attainable will that be? Or you're just writing for writing's sake. Anything you know you will not achieve in that lesson, don't write it. Yes, don't write it. Anything you know you will not achieve in that lesson, don't write it. Write what you know is attainable. Write what you know is relevant. Write what you know you can finish in that 40 minutes. It is because our lesson objectives are not smart. That's why students don't even know what you want them to know. Because you have a lot of things you want to tell them in 40 minutes. Hello, 40 minutes. So ensure that your lesson plans, your lesson objectives are what? Smart. They are specific, straight to the point. They are measurable. At the end of the lesson, you can measure if that objective has been met or not. They are attainable, relevant, and time-based. Let's move to the next. So, next thing that you should know is when you're crafting out your objective, put the Bloom's taxonomy at the back of your mind, right? Put the Bloom's taxonomy at the back of your mind. That is the difference between, remember when we said in the active and passive learning contracts, we talked about lower order and we talked about higher order. Now, if you look at the Bloom's taxonomy, right, you can see the lower order. It moves from that small towards the largest, which is creating. You want to try as much as you can towards move your students from point A, which is just them understanding, knowing. You want to move them towards creating. That is what the 21st century classroom is about. So if you've been using words like at the end of the lesson, our students will classify, they will describe, they will discuss, they will explain, all those words are still lower order thinking. Make your research on Bloom's taxonomy verbs. I might not be able to finish that today. In fact, I will not be able, right? But whenever I'm planning my lesson, I put my Bloom's taxonomy verb just on the next tab because I'm intentional about moving my students from just where they will remember to where they start creating. Don't say that, oh, I'm teaching English or I'm teaching arts, so students cannot create. They can. They can create. It depends on what you want them to do. So you want to move, as you're setting your objective, like I said, put your Bloom's taxonomy verbs beside you. Let it work together. You're moving from the lower order, which is remembering, understanding. You want to move your students from just at the end of the lesson, the student will be able to define, duplicate, list. Those are lower order. Yes, you can start with that, but ensure that you move to the end. You move to level 6. Do you understand? So I'm not saying that you should just start from level 6. No, it's a scaffold, right? Move from one point to the next point. So you want to move from define to your students creating, designing, developing. I'm going to show you how that works out in my classroom. Okay, so that is about our lesson objectives. Let's move to the next. So I'm going to take a pause. So I need to see your comments if you're here. Please, if you're here, just drop a comment. Drop a comment for me. Drop a comment for me. If you're listening, if you're following, if it's making sense, just drop a comment so I know that I have people here. So let's keep moving. Move to just move. So we know lesson materials, requirements, right? Your materials that you use. Move on. So we get to the main gist. Yes. So this is my lesson procedure. This works in making sure that, thank you, Grace. Thank you, Grace. Shout out to you. So this works to ensure that my lesson, my classroom is engaging. Like my procedure. Remember, I told you process over results. So I start with a hook. I start my lesson with a hook, right? What is going to hook your students in your lesson? Some people call it starter. I call it hook because it is something that, see, you know, like a fish. That's why I showed that picture of a hook. When you put this hook in the water, it grabs the fish. It grabs it, right? Now, you want to start your lesson with a hook, something that grabs the attention of your students. I think it just holds them spellbound and they're like, what's going on? So let me tell you how I do sometimes. Let's say I'm teaching literature, right? From the door, I just start, reciting. Let's say we're looking at a poem that day. And John did this, and everybody, I'm not even telling them to keep quiet. Everybody starts, they kept quiet on their own. I didn't tell them because I came with a loud voice. As I'm walking into the classroom, I'm reading the poem. So Mr. John just said this. Alas, my friends. Okay, something is happening. And they are relaxing themselves. What's happening? That's my starter. It got their attention. It got them. And then we say, okay, today we're going to look at this. I started with a hook. Sometimes it might not be that, right? That's why I said, don't make your classroom predictable. Sometimes I come to class and I come with something in my hand. I have this, I have this. If I give you this and this, which one would you choose? A, B. Today we're looking at comparison of adjectives. Comparison of adjectives. So what would you use to describe this one? This one is shorter than this, really. I've introduced my topic. I came with a hook. Comparison of adjectives, right? Sometimes I start my story with, in a strange land, there was a large what? I'm using one word. And then a big monkey, a short this. When I finished telling them the story and I asked them, okay, who was the fastest of all the animals? Oh, it was a big lion. Big. Okay, so who did this? It was they are using words. At the end, they are going to see where we're going to. I can use a story, I can use an action, I can use anything to get their attention. Engaging lesson. So don't just go to the classroom with your textbook and your cane and you just go and write on the board. Today we are looking at, hello, you don't want a boring classroom. Even you don't want a boring classroom. You want something exciting, right? So that's how it works with a hook or with your starter. I can tell you that if you go online, you're going to see a lot of starters. Ask, what starter can I use for? Some people argue that the starter has to relate with, the lesson. Some people argue that, oh, your starter must not relate. However, for me, I put it in the middle, right? My starter, most times, it relates with the lesson. And even if it does not, I'm going to make them see the connection because you want them to see that connection between what you have done and what they are going to learn. Let's move to the next one. Now I've moved from the starter. I'm now in the lesson, the main bites, like the main bites. Ask yourself, what's the best way to teach this information? What's the best way? How can I incorporate real life, situation, right? How can you incorporate problem solving, critical thinking? What real life situation can you relate to this? I remember one of my friends on Facebook, Chinonso, some of you might be her friends too. You know, she shared how she wanted to teach fraction and she used pizza. You know, pizza, right? Pizza that people eat. She had to bring pizza to the classroom. And you know, pizza is already in fraction. And then she taught them this is a whole, this is half, this is a quarter. She had to teach them fraction using pizza. I also, when I wanted to teach paragraphing, right? You can use sandwich method of teaching paragraph. Oh, this one, paragraph one, this one here, this one here. You can use it. Just go online, ask questions. Ask yourself this main thing now. We are done with the hook. How can I teach? Vary activities, if possible, depending on what you teach. Today, use examples. Tomorrow, use this. Next tomorrow, use that. Please move to the next one. I am running out of time. Please move. Just move on. So you want to engage your students in different ways. Sometimes it will be question and answer. Ask leading question, right? Don't ask yes or no questions. Yes or no questions, yes, they are fine sometimes, but they are lower order. You want to ask leading questions, open-ended questions, questions that students can explain, right? Students can explain, because we don't need to underestimate our students. These students are also creative. They also think. So you want to ask them questions that will, motivate them to speak out. So I teach online also. Sometimes when I start my class, I just tell them, in 10 sentences, tell me how your day went. The reason I'm saying that is not because I really want to have all the details, but I want my students to be able to confidently express themselves. If I just say, how are you today? The child will say, I'm fine. How was your day? Fine. No. I want to move beyond that. So I tell them, in 10 sentences, tell me how your day went. In 2 sentences, in 3 sentences. So you want to look at discussions, critical reading, analysis, summarizing, practical planning, debate, role play. Sometimes you act drama in your class. Act drama. If that's the style that will work for that day, act it. Hands-on, gamification, gamify your learning, provide feedback. Then learning menus. Please move on. That's the last one I want to look at. Because of time, let's just move to learning menus. Yes. No, go back. Good, let's do it here. So one thing that has helped me, right? One thing that has helped my classroom is that everybody is involved, right? You want to have an active classroom where no child is left behind. No child is left behind. Because sometimes we want to fly with the high flyers and then we leave those other children that are up and coming. So you want to differentiate your classroom in such a way that you're teaching them the same thing, but they are learning at their pace. They are learning based on what they love, but in the same classroom. So a lot of times teachers will tell me, how do you achieve that? Look at the first board. Can you see the writing? They are all the same. But I tell you, some of you will see the first one. Some of you will see the second one. Some of you will see the third one. Some of you will see the fourth one. And some people will see the fifth one. Not everybody will see the first one. The same thing. Sometimes you give the same thing. See the way the first child wrote his own. Every student is different. See the way the second teacher wrote her own. Every student is different. They are all writing the same thing, but with different handwriting. And that's how students understand it differently. Now, choice board. This was something I used in my classroom, right? So let me tell you how it worked. Differentiation. I realized I was teaching grade 10, like SS1, and then I realized that these students love different things. Sometimes, like Dairo said, you might be explaining, and those students that are not auditory learners, they don't want to pay attention. They are not auditory. They are looking for something to see. They are visual learners. Some of them just love to act. They love to dance. They love to do different things. So, and I said, okay, we're going to do this. right? Literacy choice board. I brought out my choice board, and we just learned words associated with advertising, right? And then I gave them different activities. Different activities. I said, okay, look at the activity and tell me the one you want to do. One, create a video or a drama advert. Oh, those people that love to act. If you see them, oh, they were running to that one. Some of you will draw and paint your favorite products. That was the day I saw frozen food adverts from my students, hypo advert from my students. Those people that could draw, they went for that oneself. Okay, talk show. Those people that like to talk. You see those ones that cannot keep quiet. Oh yeah, let's have a talk show. You talk about what? You advertise your products. Madam, oh, I have this thing for you. This is what those that like to sing, but they don't like conventional songs. They like rap. They made rap. Advertisement is they did it the way they love to. Those that are tech savvy, they like to press phone. Auntie, I don't want to do all these ones. I don't even have strength for it. They went to create with Canva flyer. Remember, I'm teaching SS1. A lot of them had phone. And those that love music, but they don't want to sing, they just created a soundtrack. The day we did our presentation, it was amazing. Like, it was amazing. I was so surprised at what these students could come up with. I was shocked, but I was encouraged. Differentiation, the same thing in different ways. Students understood the same thing in different ways. You're teaching a classroom, you have to have differentiation at the back of your mind. A will not understand like B. That is why when I give them class tasks, I know the students that I will give 1+1. I know the student that I will give with picture, because if they don't see picture, they cannot count it. I know the student that I will say, okay, go and bring your udara seed, agbalumo seed, and count with your hand, because those students, they love hands-on. I know the students that I will tell to just do 1+1 and they will do it. You have to look at differentiation so that your students are all engaged. Because if you're in a classroom and some people are doing something, others are finished, those ones that are finished, they'll be making noise and they'll be distracting those that have not finished. And so you want to ensure that all your students are carried along. Mr. Abdulatif, are you here? Are you here? I do not think so. So at this point, while I wait for him to move on, okay, so yes, how can you support your students when you are in an active classroom? Remember, an active classroom is student-centered, but you're not leaving it all for the students to do. You're not just saying that, oh, it's student-centered, let them be learning. No, you're going to model. I always start with what a good one looks like. So I finished teaching letter writing. I'm going to show my students what a good one looks like. What does it mean? I'm going to model. I'm going to write my own letter because I know it. So I'm not giving you to just do it. No, I'm going to show you what does a good one look like. This is what a good one looks like. So you write a letter and follow the pattern. Run through examples with them, right? After showing them, you can do examples together, right? For some of them that might struggle, you might say, okay, I'm going to provide the address and then you're going to complete it. You have helped them. Some people don't need you to provide address for them. They already know. And that's why when your students are working, you should not be sitting. You have to be going round to check. You will check the ones that you need to support. Check the ones that you don't need to support. Those ones they can write from the beginning to the end. And then you scaffold, right? Scaffolding is giving them steps, like you're helping them. You know, when you want to build a house, especially when it has to do with a story building, you're going to put that bamboo or iron. Now, what it does is it's going to help the builders to climb to the top because the building is not yet constructed. It's still under construction. Your students are still learning. You need to put scaffolds for them, scaffolds that will help them move from A to B, that will help them from the floor to the top. You don't just leave them and say, I've taught you now. Have I not taught you? Do it now. Some of them, you need to provide that support. And let's move to the next one. So yeah, just move on. So yeah, reflection. Another thing that can help in making sure your classroom is an active one. Help your students to reflect on their learning. You've done all these things, you've done that, you've done that. Sometimes students are carried away with what? All the examples. Do you understand? It's just like when you're teaching. Take an example. You're teaching and you gave a story in the course of your teaching. You now ask your students, what is now? And the child starts telling you the story. Oh my God. Has it happened to you before? The child has left the juice to just eat the other parts. You use that story just to explain something, but the child can only remember the story. So at this point, you want to foster reflection in your classroom. After all these things, all these activities, let them sit down, calm down. Me, I used to tell them, calm down. We are done, right? Everybody on your seats, your hands together, calm down. Now let's talk. I start, keep quiet, everybody. Think about what we did today. What's a noun? What's a pronoun? What's a that? What is a this? Think about it. And then the students, because let me tell you, we live in a fast-paced world. You can do all this magic, and as they leave the class, they will forget. So you want them to have 5 minutes to calm down, breathe in. That's I play with them. I say, breathe in, everybody, sit down, hands together, and they place their hands together. Now let's think about what we did today. Now, what are you doing to the brain? You're making the brain to reflect on what you've done. So the next activity, especially when you're teaching secondary school, the next teacher is waiting by the door. They don't forget. When the brain has a second to think about it, it sticks more, right? It sticks more. Help them reflect. Put it 5 minutes. That's why your classroom has to be student-centered. Because if it's learner-centered, you will talk to the end. Give them 5 minutes to calm down and think about, what they have learned. Think about what they have learned. And then it's going to be what? There in their mind. Whenever you want it, they'll just be able to harvest it from their mind. The last thing I'll talk about is assessment. Even in an active classroom, your assessment has to be what? Has to be top notch. You can use game. You can use learning menus. You can use a whole lot of things. Please don't say you don't have laptop in your schools. That's where creativity comes to play. If you don't have laptop, think of what to do. The learning menu that I shared, not all the activities will need laptop. Some of them, you can tell them to sing a song, tell them to act a drama, role play, tell them to do something, but just ensure that you're giving your students the learning experience they need. And I tell you, in 10 years' time, you're paying the price. I know it's not easy. Lesson planning is not easy, especially when you want to do the right thing. It's easy when you want to copy and paste, but it's not easy when you want to make it active learning, when you want to inculcate a lot in your students. But I tell you, you're paying a price that your students will always remember you for. At this point, I will say, if you have a question, you can drop. I'll be there to answer. But if you don't, that's all for me today. Do the best you can, be the best version that you can. Keep working on yourself, keep being the best teacher you can be, and we will be there to cheer you on. Have a lovely day. That's all for me, Mr. Abdulatif. Check if there's a question. I'm here to answer.
Wow. This is it is fantastic. The thing is, thank you so much. And I need to mention that the thing is, I'm really glad that this session is the last session because why is the thing is that most of the time, Miss Joyce is not someone you can really put on time like that. Because even if you check, so the way she taught right now, it's just a evidence or a testimony to the way she teaches in the classroom. So it is with story. It's not like it's just everything is step by step. So it's not as if okay, everything is just like no, it's step by step. Everything is going like expertly planned. Yes. So it's not. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for all you do. See, like I need to tell you, follow this woman. Go to Facebook and go and follow her. Go and follow her on Facebook. One thing I was okay. I don't know. Okay, yesterday was my birthday. I just want to share this quick experience with you. As it was my birthday, and one thing I decided to do for the first time is that I have some people in school, some students in school that I mentor, I talk to, and just be like, okay, I want to just have a simple hangout with you guys. I just want to talk with you. After them, I'm not a finalist. I don't really have more time to start chasing anybody around. But at least I want us to have this time together. So I spoke with them. And one of the things I mentioned to them, which I'm going to mention, I want to mention here today, is exposure is very important. I told them your imagination is limited by your exposure. There's some things you can never imagine to do in your life. You have never exposed to it. And that's why I'm asking you to go and follow Miss Joy. Because see, there are a lot of things she do, there are a lot of things she engaged in, there are a lot of things that she has achieved. That there are a lot of things that, in fact, in your life that you want today, but you don't know you want them because you have never seen it happen before. See, this book club that you are seeing today, it will never happen. I have not seen someone hosted something like this before. Okay, so that's why it's very important that you expose yourself to people, especially people that are doing fantastic things. So, Miss Joy, thank you so much for taking the time to share from your word of knowledge. Not just that, but I understand the circumstances that surround this. And you still having the time, you waited. This session was supposed to start 11 o'clock. She came up some minutes to talk, and she's still able to deal with the topic very well. Please, let's appreciate this. Okay, I think I see a question here. There's a question here. So thank you so much for this session. Really wonderful. My question is, with 40 minutes, you have 40 subjects. Can one achieve all this? Is it possible, ma? For us to achieve all this
Okay.
within 40?
Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All
Can hear
right.
you.
So now, like I said from the beginning, you cannot do everything in 40 minutes, right? And that's why you need your smart objectives. Your objective will tell you what activity you should choose for a particular day. And that's why you should not be predictable. So today you might want to do a role play for your students, right? You want to do a role play. And you know the students that are good in it. You use your role play. The next day you might just say, oh, today we're going to sing about osmosis and diffusion. And that day it's about a song, right? So yesterday you did a role play. Today you sang a song. Tomorrow, no, we're not going to sing a song tomorrow. We're going to do a rap. So your students will always look forward to your section. They will always look forward to your section because they really do not know the one to you're going to use for that day. And it also helps that you're going to carry all your students. So today, you know, there are some students that when they are in class, everything is about them. Those ones that have fine handwriting, especially for biology teachers. You know those students that have fine writing, they are the only ones that you call to come and write for you. But by the time you alternate it, there is differentiation. Today, the spotlight is on those that can sing. Tomorrow, they are the ones sitting down, listening to those that can act. The next day, they are looking at those that can paint. You see that all your students will feel loved by you. The spotlight is not on any child or two children. The spotlight is on them. So those ones that can paint, they are looking forward to the day you're going to tell them, okay, today you're the one to draw this animal. Those ones that can sing, they know that, okay, today is not our day. But one day I know Mrs. Ifeanyi will call us to come and sing. They all look forward to what? A section. They all look forward to your classroom. So that's what I can say. So you're not doing everything in 40 minutes. You're choosing the one that works for you for that day.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. So I hope that question is answered. Do you have any other person with question? Thank you so much, Mrs. Joy, once again. Thank you so much for all you do. Thank you so much for all you do for teachers. Thanks so much for all you do in the education space. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your commitment. I appreciate your sacrifice. Because I know that it takes a lot for you to be here. And for our participants too, thank you so much for being here. If you are not here, who is us? Just be talking with each other. So thank you so much for also being here. And it's the third day of the basic bootcamp. But then please remember, we're still going to have another one more session this evening by 5 p.m. It's going to be on adaptive learning. You can't afford to miss that session. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be very, very amazing, very, very educative and empowering. So please let me make it a date. 5 o'clock today. I'm going to send the link to the WhatsApp group. Okay, so please make sure to take advantage of it. And I can see more people are taking advantage of my second birthday gift. So six people have taken this the advantage now. So we still have 19 slots left. Remember, I've extended the 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 date now, so you can still have access to it till the end of Friday. Okay, so again, thank you so much for being part of this. And I want to so before we go, finally, let me know how is this sessions for you. I just want to know generally how is this session for you. And I need to inform you, yes, you're the first person that's getting to know this. There's going to be certificates, yes, for this particular boot camp. As much as we are, there's going to be certificates for each person. For on one condition, it's only for active people. Okay, and there's a way for us to know those that are active. Okay, so we will know those that are active, and there's going to be certificate for you. We're going to at the end of the session, at the end of the bootcamp on Friday, we'll drop a link to a form on the group. So you fill the form. So from the form, we know whether you are qualified to receive a certificate or not. If you are qualified, you get a certificate free of charge, nothing attached. Okay, if you are not, you not get a certificate. So it's just that. So thank you so much again for being part of this session. I don't take it for granted, and I can't wait to see you by 5 p.m. Please don't miss it. Let's make it a date. I know this is really intensive. Yes, this is 3 hours 39 minutes. It's very intensive, but then it's what it is. It is what it takes to achieve whatever we want to achieve. So again, thank you so much. See you, and I need to appreciate you again. Thank you so much for wishing me well yesterday. Yesterday is most my biggest birthday so far. Thank you so much. And I've not recovered it, but I'm still replying messages. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, and have a great day ahead. Thank you. And I'm going to see you all by 5 p.m. Are you going to be there by 5 p.m.? Please be there. Don't miss it. Our speaker is ready for us. And please, I want you to go and drop your feedback. Go to the WhatsApp group and drop your feedback. So drop how this session is for you. Let people who don't join the live session, let them know they are missing out. Or there are some people who are not even part of the bootcamp since the day we started. Let them know that they are missing out a lot. They are missing out a lot. Let them know. So thank you so much, and I'll see you guys by 5 p.m. Thank you, and have a great day ahead.